Good morning, dear friend. The first light of dawn stretches across the quiet horizon, casting its gentle glow on everything it touches. I invite you to take a deep breath. Let the cool air of early morning fill your lungs and calm your thoughts. This is not just the start of a new day. This is a sacred moment, a pause between yesterday's burdens and today's unfolding. In the stillness of this hour, when the world has not yet rushed in with noise and demands, heaven leans a little closer. And perhaps, just perhaps, your heart is leaning too. Maybe you are waking up with something heavy on your chest. Maybe you did not sleep much at all. Maybe your mind kept replaying the words someone said, or the news you received, or the silence that followed when you begged God for an answer that did not seem to come. I want to speak to you gently now, like a friend who has come to sit with you at the edge of your pain. I once heard about a woman who had just lost her husband of 30 years. Her world shattered in a single phone call. No time for goodbye. No moment to prepare. Just an empty chair where love used to sit. Each morning afterward, she would sit by the window before sunrise, not to watch the light, but because the darkness is inside her matched the one outside. I do not know how to pray anymore, she told someone, her voice barely above a whisper. I do not know what to say, but I keep showing up here. I figure if I can sit long enough, maybe God will find me in the silence. Maybe that is you too. Maybe you are not sure what to say to God right now. Maybe all you have is a whisper, or a tear, or the hope that anything will shift. If that is where you are, then you are exactly where you need to be. Because prayer is not a performance. It is not polished language or perfect posture. Prayer is presence. It is the act of showing up with your truest self. It is the bold choice to believe that even in the shaking, even in the silence, you are not alone. This morning, we will journey together through the places where your heart has been trembling. We will speak truth to the voices that lie. We will silence fear with faith. We will remember that the storms raging around you do not get the final say. What you feel may be overwhelming, but what God has spoken is unshakable. Peace is not far away. It is already knocking. And faith, though small, is enough to open the door. So wherever you are right now, still in bed, sitting by a window, walking quietly through your home, pause with me. Let this be your moment. The world will wait, but heaven is ready. Open your heart, not because you have the answers, but because you are ready for something more than the noise. You are not forgotten. You are not forsaken. This morning, the voice of God is near, and He is waiting for you to speak, just as He is ready to speak back. Let us begin. Dear Heavenly Father, I wake this morning with a heaviness that I cannot ignore. My chest feels tight with thoughts I cannot quite name, and my heart carries a weight that sleep did not lift. Before the sun even fully rises, I am already weary. The world around me feels unsteady, like the ground beneath my feet could give way at any moment. There is a storm, not just outside, but within. And though I long for peace, all I seem to hear is the sound of things breaking. My confidence is cracked. My strength feels scattered. I did not expect life to look like this, and yet here I am, standing in the middle of uncertainty with trembling hands and tired eyes. I do not come to you pretending to be strong. I do not come with perfect words or rehearsed phrases. I come with what I have, and right now, what I have is raw. What I have is real. I am not asking for everything to suddenly make sense. I am not even asking for all the answers. I am asking for you to meet me here. Right here. In the middle of the shaking. I do not need you to explain why the storm came. I just need to know you are in it with me. Because if you are here, then this storm will not swallow me whole. I confess that I have tried to hold it together on my own. I have put on brave faces and whispered the right words, hoping it would all get better with time. But time alone is not enough. I need you, not just in the quiet, safe places, but in the chaos too. In the morning when my thoughts race ahead of me. In the moments when I question if I can make it through the day. I need your presence to wrap around me like a blanket. I need your strength to rise up in me like a steady flame. Lord, I have seen things I did not expect. I have watched relationships fall apart. I have felt the sting of betrayal. I have looked at my bank account and wondered how I would make it to the next week. I have read headlines that made my heart sink. I have heard news that made my knees buckle. I have cried in the dark and hidden my fears behind small talk and business. But this morning, I will not hide. I will not pretend. I will not push down the H or run from the questions. I will stand here with all of it and bring it to you. You already know my heart. You see the fears I dare not say out loud. You see the worries I carry like stones in my pockets. You see the memories that still sting and the regrets I try to forget. Nothing in me is hidden from you. So why would I pretend? You are not asking for perfection. You are asking for presence. You are not waiting for me to figure it all out. You are waiting for me to come as I am. So here I am, Lord. Here I am, undone and uncertain, but still reaching for you. I do not know what this day holds. I do not know what tomorrow brings. But I know this, I am not alone. And even in the moments when I cannot feel it, I choose to believe it. I choose to believe that you are here in the middle of this. I choose to believe that you are not surprised by my pain. I choose to believe that you are not distant or cold. You are near. You are kind. You are steady when everything else is spinning. You are my shelter when everything else falls apart. This morning, I lay down every heavy thought. I lay down every burden I was never meant to carry alone. I lay down my need to control what I cannot. I surrender my pride, my fear, and my doubts. I lift my eyes to you, not because the storm has stopped, but because I know you are stronger than the storm. I lift my voice to you, not because I feel brave, but because I know you hear me even when my words are broken. God, help me breathe deeply today. Help me slow down and remember that I do not walk alone. Help me see the small reminders of your love all around me. A sunrise that still rises. A breath that still fills my lungs. A moment of quiet that softens the noise. Even these are signs that you are near. Let me not miss them. Let me not rush past the grace tucked into simple things. Hold my heart steady, Lord, when fear creeps in. Help me remember who I am and whose I am. When the world shouts for my attention, help me stay anchored in truth. When my emotions try to take over, remind me that you are not moved by the waves. You walk on them. And if you can walk on water, then you can hold me above it too. I do not need to fix everything. I just need to stay close to you. I choose today to trust you with what I do not understand. I choose to trust you with the things I cannot see. I choose to believe that even in the shaking, you are building something that will not fall. Maybe I do not see the whole picture yet. Maybe I am still in the middle of the tunnel. But you are the builder, and you do not waste the breaking. What feels like destruction might be construction. What feels like collapse might be the clearing of the path. I will not rush this moment. I will not rush this day. I will keep breathing. I will keep listening. I will keep leaning in. I do not need to do this perfectly. I just need to keep showing up, one breath at a time, one step at a time. And when my steps feel uncertain, I will reach for your hand, because even if I tremble, you do not. Even if I question, you do not change. Even if I fall, you are still here. Always here. Forever near. Lord, even as I sit here with my heart open and my thoughts still tender from what I just laid before you, I feel the noise trying to creep back in. I hear the doubts rising again, subtle but strong, like waves tapping endlessly at a fragile shore. I try to stay with you, to remain in the stillness where I sense your presence. But the world keeps pressing. Thoughts I'd not invite begin to fill the silence. What if it does not get better? What if I fail again? What if today brings more breaking instead of healing? God, help me stay rooted when panic wants to pull me away. The voice of fear comes dressed in logic. It tells me to be prepared for the worst, to brace for disappointment, to close my heart just a little in case things fall apart again. It does not shout. Sometimes it whispers just loud enough to drown out the peace I was beginning to feel. It reminds me of my past missteps. It flashes images of the unknown. It makes urgency feel like wisdom and worry feel like responsibility. But Lord, I am learning that not every loud voice deserves my attention. Not every thought that shows up belongs in my mind. I need your voice to be louder than the fear today. I need the whisper of peace to rise up inside me, like a steady current that cannot be stopped. I know it may not come as thunder. It may not shake the ground or silence every other sound. But I have known before that your voice can be softer and still stronger. You do not shout over the storm. Sometimes you speak under it, and that still small voice is what I am listening for now. Teach me to recognize the difference. Show me how to tell when fear is dressing up like wisdom. Show me when it is not your voice I am following, even when it feels familiar. Let me not be led by emotion that changes with every wind. Let me not be moved by the world's rhythm. Always chasing. Always bracing. I want to be still, not passive. Not numb, but grounded in the knowing that you are here and you are not anxious. When panic comes knocking, let me pause. Not run. Not react. Just pause. Let me turn my face toward you instead of toward the nearest exit. I have escaped into distractions before. I have buried myself in business and filled the silence with screens, noise, endless scrolling. But that never healed me. It only delayed the H. You are not in the distraction. You are in the stillness. And even if I feel uneasy in the quiet, I know you are waiting there with comfort I cannot find anywhere else. Today, I need your peace, Lord, not just as a gentle idea or a fleeting feeling, but as something real enough to stand on. I need it to hold me steady when everything else is moving too fast. I need it to interrupt the spirals in my mind. I need it to bring me back to the present moment when anxiety tries to drag me into a future I cannot predict. I cannot live in tomorrow, and I cannot keep reliving yesterday. All I have is this moment, and if you are in it, then this moment is enough. I remember that you have not asked me to carry everything. You have not told me to solve every problem or hold every answer. You simply invite me to be with you, and that invitation has no expiration. It does not depend on my mood, my progress, or my performance. Even if I come weary, distracted, or afraid, you welcome me. You do not roll your eyes at my struggle. You do not rush me out of your presence. You receive me as I am, and you speak truth in the places where lies have lived too long. So speak now, Lord. Cut through the static in my mind. Speak words that quiet the trembling. Speak reminders that I am not abandoned. Tell me again that I am safe. I need to hear it, even if I have heard it before. I need to hear it in this moment, in this breath, because fear can be persistent and subtle, and sometimes I forget that just because I feel something deeply does not mean it is true. You are truth, and you are near. That is what I cling to today. Not every answer, not every solution, just the simple truth that you are with me, and that you are not worried. You are not pacing. You are not scrambling to fix what feels broken. You are seated. You are sovereign. You are steady. And because of that, I can begin to breathe again. Help me be aware of when I let panic drive my choices. Help me recognize the moments when I am reacting from fear instead of responding with faith. Let me not pick up burdens that you never asked me to carry. Let me not agree with voices that pull me away from your peace. I want to walk through this day with clarity, not with the shallow confidence that I have everything figured out, but with the deeper assurance that I do not need to. Because you do. I am not strong because of what I know. I am strong because of who you are. I am not secure because I have control. I am secure because you hold all things, and you hold me. I do not need to know how today will unfold. I only need to know that you will unfold it with me, step by step, breath by breath, whisper by whisper. And so I listen now, not for the world's commentary, but for your quiet leading, not for fierce forecast, but for your faithful promise, not for the rush of panic, but for the rhythm of peace. I lean into that voice. I let it wrap around me like the morning air. I let it settle into the deepest places that still feel fragile. And even if everything outside remains uncertain, I choose to carry certainty within, not because everything is calm, but because you are here. And where you are, peace is not a guest. It is a resident. It is the atmosphere. It is my inheritance. God, as I continue to sit in the stillness of this morning, with your presence surrounding me, I feel something rising to the surface that I can no longer ignore. Beneath the tiredness, beneath the swirling thoughts, beneath the cautious hope I am beginning to cling to, there is something that still holds a firm grip on me: fear. It does not always shout. It does not always rush in with drama. Sometimes it just lingers, steady and subtle, like a shadow that follows me into every room. I did not invite it, but I have let it stay, and now I realize it has shaped more of my heart than I wanted to admit. Father, I confess that I have made agreements with fear. Not openly, not intentionally, but slowly over time. I have let it become familiar. I have listened when it whispered that I was not safe. I have followed its warnings instead of trusting your promises. I have rearranged my choices to avoid pain rather than to walk in purpose. I have avoided vulnerability. I have buried dreams. I have chosen silence when I should have spoken, all because fear told me it was safer that way. I see it now for what it is. Fear has not protected me. It has limited me. It has taken up residence where faith was meant to live. It has occupied space in my mind that should have been filled with your truth. It has built walls instead of bridges. It has weighed me down instead of lifting me up. And I am tired, God. I am tired of walking with it. I am tired of shrinking to fit inside the boundaries that fear has drawn around my life. I want to be free. I want to walk in the wide open space of your love again. So I bring it to you, every fear I have tried to manage on my own. I bring the fear of failing, of disappointing others, of not being enough. I bring the fear of being abandoned, of being misunderstood, of being alone in my pain. I bring the fear of loss, the fear of what I cannot control, the fear of what might happen if I fully trust you. I lay it down, trembling but honest, and I ask you to meet me here. You are not angry with my fear. You are not ashamed of my struggle. You do not turn away when I admit the things that scare me. Instead, you draw near. You speak gently. You remind me that your perfect love casts out fear not by force, but by filling every space where fear once lived. So fill me now, God. Fill the empty places with something stronger than the fear I have carried. Let your love go deeper than my worry. Let your truth speak louder than my questions. I do not want to hold hands with fear anymore. I do not want to let it shape the way I see you or myself or the world around me. I want to trust again. Not blindly, not recklessly, but with a heart anchored in who you are. You have never failed me, even in moments when I did not understand. You were still holding me. You were still guiding me. And even now, as I begin to break my agreement with fear, you are not letting me do it alone. Lord, show me the places where fear has been hiding. Open my eyes to the ways it has disguised itself as wisdom or caution or logic. Help me see clearly so I can choose truth instead. Let me not be deceived by the voice that always leads to limitation. Let me be brave enough to expose it and strong enough to let it go. I know it may not vanish all at once. I know there may be days when it tries to return. But today, in this moment, I choose to begin. I choose to take its hands off the steering wheel. I choose to let you lead instead. I acknowledge the damage fear has done. I do not pretend it has been harmless. It has stolen my sleep. It has robbed me of joy. It has whispered lies in sacred places. It has told me I am alone, that I am unsafe, that I am too broken to be used by you. And worst of all, I believed it. I let it speak where only your voice belonged. But now, God, I reclaim that space. I say no to the lies. I say no to the voice that has tried to define me by my weaknesses instead of your strength. You did not create me to live in fear. You did not breathe life into me so that I would spend it caged by worry and dread. You made me to walk in light, to move in courage, to carry your presence into every corner of my life. I want to live like that again. I want to step forward not because the fear is gone, but because faith is growing. I want to believe you when you say that I am safe, that I am known, that I am held. I want to trust that even when the worst happens, you will still be good. Father, I hand you the control I have been clinging to. I release the false sense of safety that fear promised me. I open my hands to receive what only you can give. I open my heart to feel what peace can really feel like when it is no longer sharing space with fear. Teach me how to walk this out. Teach me how to recognize the voice of peace more quickly and silence the voice of fear more completely. Let each step be one of trust, not because I see the whole path, but because I know the one who walks with me. Let this be the day I remember. The day I said out loud what I used to only whisper. The day I admitted that fear had a grip on me and asked you to break it. The day I took the first real step into freedom. And let it be the day you met me not with judgment, but with grace. Not with disappointment, but with tenderness. I know you are not afraid of my fear. You are greater than it. You are stronger than it. And you are here. Even now, as I speak these words, I feel the beginning of something loosening inside me. It is not all gone yet, but the power it held is weakening. The roots are being pulled. The darkness is lifting. And in its place, I feel light. I feel truth. I feel you. This is what I needed, not escape. Not distraction, but the courage to face it with you beside me. And now that I have, I will not go back. I will not return to the quiet agreement that fear gets to define me. From this moment on, I walk with you, not with the voice that kept me small. Father, now that I have named the fear and confessed the grip it had on me, I feel the space inside me start to shift. It is not just that fear has been exposed, it is that I no longer want to follow where it tries to lead. I recognize now that every time I gave it influence, I lost a piece of myself. I lost time. I lost opportunities. I lost moments that could have been soaked in peace. But I do not want to lose any more. I do not want to give fear another inch of authority over the direction of my life. I choose today, with all that I have and all that I lack, to walk a different way. Lord, you know how deeply fear has woven itself into my decisions. how it has disguised itself as caution, how it has whispered into moments of hesitation, how it has tried to pass itself off as wisdom, when really it was just resistance to trust. You know how many times I said no to things I should have stepped into. How many invitations I ignored because I was afraid of the unknown. How many prayers I prayed with a trembling heart, already imagining the worst outcome. And still, you remained patient. You stayed. You kept calling me, not with force, but with quiet persistence, waiting for the moment I would turn around and listen. I am listening now, and as I listen, I choose to turn, not just in thought, but in direction. I choose not to let fear determine what I say, how I move, where I go, or who I become. I choose to believe that you are stronger than what scares me, that your love does not only comfort, it leads. And I want to be led by love, not by fear. I want to wake up in the morning and ask, "What are you doing today, Lord?" Not what do I need to protect myself from. I want my first instinct to be trust, not retreat. I want to step out, even trembling. If I know you are the one ahead of me, help me recognize the crossroads when they come, the moments where I can choose either to follow peace or to follow panic. Help me see clearly which path carries your voice, because fear will keep trying. It will still speak. It will still press in, but it no longer has the final word. It may knock, but I do not have to answer. It may shout, but I do not have to echo it. I can hear it and still move forward. I can feel it and still choose truth. God, train my heart to lean into the quiet confidence that comes from you. Not loud, not flashy, but steady. Remind me that confidence in you is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is agreement with what you have already spoken over my life. And I want to walk in that agreement today. I want my steps to match what you say is possible. I want my decisions to reflect your voice and not the voice of fear that always predicts failure. There have been so many times I paused too long, times I looked for reassurance in places that could not offer it, times I waited for fear to leave before I moved. But I see now that waiting for fear to vanish is not the same as walking in faith. You never said I would always feel brave. You said you would be with me, and that is the promise I hold on to now. You are with me, not only when I feel strong, but especially when I feel unsure. You are my companion in courage. You are my foundation in the face of what feels fragile. So with every step I take today, remind me that it is okay to feel the fear without following it. It is okay to move forward, even if my heart is still learning how to be steady. I am not walking in denial, I am walking in decision. I am deciding not to be ruled by fear. I am deciding not to let fear be the compass that sets my direction. I am letting your peace be the guide, your word be the map, and your presence be the covering that keeps me when I feel exposed. Lord, I do not want my life to be built around avoiding what I am afraid of. I want it to be built on the pursuit of what you have promised. I want to run toward calling, not away from discomfort. I want to follow the fire of your spirit, not the shadow of my fear. And I know this choice will come again and again, not just today. But today is enough for now. Today is where I begin again. If I fall, if I hesitate, if I second guess, remind me gently. You are not asking me to walk perfectly. You are asking me to walk honestly, with open hands, with surrendered will, with a heart that says, I will not be ruled by fear today. Let be the banner over me in every room I enter, in every decision I face. Let my courage be quiet but rooted. Let it speak not in volume but in clarity. Let it carry your fragrance, not the residue of panic. God, I want to walk into rooms without shrinking. I want to speak with truth even when my voice shakes. I want to trust the path even when I cannot see the full road ahead. And most of all, I want to trust you more than I trust the warnings fear gives me. I want to believe you are already where I am going, that you are preparing the ground, that you are holding the pieces I cannot see yet, that you are not only walking with me, but leading me towards something good. When fear rises up again, and I know it will remind me of this moment, this choice, this declaration, I will not be led by fear. I will not obey its voice. I will not give it room to dictate who I become. I belong to you, and I will walk like it. Even if it is with baby steps, even if it is slower than I hoped, I will move forward, not because I feel brave, but because I am choosing trust. I will plant my feet, not in certainty about outcomes, but in the certainty of who you are. I will look to you before I look to fear. I will listen for peace before I respond to pressure. I am not the same person I was when I began this morning. Something in me is stirring. Something is shifting. I feel the invitation to rise up, to walk forward, to live free, and I accept it. I step into it. Not because fear has vanished, but because I no longer follow where it leads. I follow you. And even if that means walking into the unknown, I know now it is a better unknown with you than a familiar prison with fear. I choose trust. I choose peace. I choose you. Father, now that I have chosen not to walk in fear, I find myself face to face with something more subtle, but just as heavy confusion. It is not loud like panic. It does not grip like dread, but it wraps itself around my mind like a quiet fog, soft enough to ignore, yet thick enough to blur everything I try to see. I thought the decision to turn away from fear would bring immediate clarity. But instead, I have entered a place where the path ahead is dim, and the voices are many. I need you more than ever here. I need your light to pierce this fog. Lord, I do not want to pretend that I have it all figured out. I do not want a fake peace while my thoughts are tangled and my heart is unsure. I would rather be honest in the fog than fake clarity in the dark. And the truth is, I feel lost sometimes. Not completely lost, but like I have been spinning in circles trying to hear your voice clearly through the noise. I keep asking, what do I do next? Where do I go? What are you saying right now? But the answers are not always immediate. The silence can be long, and in that silence, the confusion grows. I know you are not the author of confusion. I know you are the God of peace and order, so I bring this fog to you, this clouded mind, this wary reasoning. I do not ask you to yell above the chaos. I ask you to quiet the chaos inside me so I can hear what you are already saying. Help me distinguish between the voices that distract and the voice that directs. Help me know when it is your spirit speaking, and when it is my own fear in disguise. Help me let go of every internal debate that pulls me further from trust. God, sometimes the confusion comes from within my thoughts racing, my expectations clashing, my past experiences distorting the present. But other times it comes from the outside, too many opinions, too many comparisons, too many words that sound good, but are not grounded in you. I confess that I have let too many voices shape my understanding. I have listened to the loudest instead of the truest. I have searched for answers in places that only multiplied my questions. I have trusted advice that carried no peace. And I have filled the silence with noise instead of filling it with prayer. Today, I want to change that. I want to sit in the quiet without rushing. I want to wait for your voice instead of reacting to every new idea. I want to filter every message, every suggestion, every thought through what you have already said. Not everything that sounds spiritual is from you. Not everything that feels urgent is wise. And not every question demands an answer right away. Help me know the difference. Help me walk slowly through this fog with steady steps, even if I cannot yet see the destination. Just one true step at a time. That is enough for now. Lord, I have seen how confusion can distort even the most beautiful moments, how it twists what was clear and makes it look uncertain, how it takes what you spoke and buries it under opinions. I have watched myself doubt what I was sure of just yesterday. I have watched confidence turn into hesitation simply because someone else spoke louder than the peace I felt. I do not want to like that anymore. I want to return to what you said, to what I know is true. Even if it means I have to turn down the volume of the world. Even if it means I have to step back from things that stir more questions than clarity. I want to be grounded in truth, not swayed by confusion. I want to walk in the simplicity of faith, not the complexity of endless interpretation. You did not call me to figure everything out. You called me to follow. And even if I cannot explain every step, I can still take it. Even if I do not have full understanding, I can still have full surrender. Because peace does not come from knowing all the answers. It comes from knowing you. And I know you are good, even when the way is unclear. Help me recognize the triggers of confusion, the moments when I start to spiral. The voices that fuel doubt, the situations that stir anxiety instead of peace. Teach me to pause in those moments, to breathe, to return to center, to remember that not every door that opens is for me to walk through, that not every question is mine to carry, that not every storm requires my response. There is wisdom in waiting. There is strength in silence. And there is power in letting go of what I was never meant to manage. Lord, I do not want to be tossed back and forth by every new wave of opinion or pressure. I want to be anchored. I want to be like a tree planted by streams of water, not a leaf blown about by shifting winds. Confusion may try to steal my focus, but it cannot take my roots. I am rooted in you. I am rooted in your word. I am rooted in what does not change when everything else does. So right now, in the stillness of this morning, I return to what I know. I know you are faithful. I know you are near. I know you are not trying to confuse me, but to lead me. And even if I cannot hear you clearly yet, I trust that you are still speaking. I trust that my confusion does not push you away, it draws you closer. I trust that you see the fog and are already holding the lamp that will guide me through it. Let your peace rise above the noise in my mind. Let it spread across the chaos like dawn breaks over night. Let it cover every question with quiet assurance. Let it become the voice I follow, even if I only hear it in fragments. Even if it is only a whisper. That whisper is enough if it comes from you. That whisper is worth waiting for. Thank you for not being afraid of my uncertainty. Thank you for staying present when my mind is restless. Thank you for offering peace without requiring perfection. I do not have to have it all together to be with you. I do not have to pretend to be confident to be close. I only have to show up and be honest. And this morning, that is what I bring: honesty in the fog, a heart still learning to listen, a soul choosing to wait for light. I know the clarity will come, not because I earn it, but because you are faithful. And as I wait, I will rest, I will breathe, I will trust. Even in the fog, I am not alone. Even in the unknown, you are still guiding me. Father, as I sit with the fog of confusion slowly beginning to lift, I start to notice what has been quietly living beneath it: anxiety. It does not always arrive with warning or permission, but it knows how to settle in, how to cling to the edges of my thoughts, how to keep my spirit restless. And though I have called it many things over time: pressure, responsibility, urgency, I know now what it truly is. It is a heavy presence I have tolerated far too long. And today, I no longer want to live under its weight. Today, I choose to break my silent agreement with anxiety. Lord, I confess that I have allowed anxiety to shape my rhythms. It has dictated the pace of my days, the tone of my thoughts, and the lens through which I see the world. I have let it determine how I prepare, how I protect, how I react. I have built routines around worry. I have rehearsed worst-case scenarios and called it being wise. I have lost sleep over things that never even happened. And still, I have continued to carry it like a responsibility, like something I owed the world in order to stay ready for whatever might go wrong. But I see now what I could not see before. Anxiety is not my protector. It is not my warning system. It is not the wisdom I once believed it to be. It is a thief. It steals presence. It robs joy. It weakens focus. It clouds my ability to recognize your peace. And it has no right to stay. So I open my hands. Lord, I open my clenched fists that have held worry like armor, and I ask you to help me release it all. I ask you to take what I cannot fix, what I cannot predict, what I cannot control. I ask you to remind me that surrender is not weakness, it is worship. God, I want to learn what it really means to live unburdened. Not careless, not numb, but free. I want to wake up without dread. I want to walk through my day without checking every corner for something to go wrong. I want to trust that you are in the details, that I do not have to hold everything together for the world to keep spinning. I want to believe that being responsible does not mean being anxious, that I can care deeply and still rest completely. Help me to stop apologizing for needing peace. Help me to stop feeling guilty when I slow down. Help me to stop chasing perfection in the name of preparation. I do not want anxiety to be the rhythm of my life. I want peace to be the melody that carries me, a peace that does not depend on circumstances, but flows from the confidence that you are God and you are good. Lord, anxiety has trained my body to stay on edge. It has taught me to flinch at change, to brace for disappointment, to doubt even in blessing. But you are a better teacher. You teach me to breathe. You teach me to rest. You teach me to let go. So retrain my soul. Rewire the places where anxiety built habits of unrest. Replace the patterns of panic with pathways of peace. Let your spirit speak a new language over my thoughts, one that does not revolve around what ifs and worst cases, but instead anchors me in what is true and present. I break the agreement that says I must be anxious in order to be prepared. I break the belief that tells me I am not safe unless I am worried. I break the narrative that peace is earned through exhaustion. I break the lie that I am responsible for outcomes that belong to you. And I choose instead to walk in alignment with your promises. I choose to live like I trust you, not just with my words, but with my habits, with my breath, with the way I move through this day. Help me identify the triggers that stir anxiety, the unchecked thoughts, the relentless scrolling, the voices that add pressure but not peace. Show me the exits I have used to escape rather than engage. Help me build new rhythms that nourish trust instead of fear. Let my mornings begin with stillness instead of stress. Let my conversations reflect calm instead of control. Let my prayers flow from faith instead of panic. God, I know that this will be a process, that anxiety does not disappear overnight, but this choice matters. This moment matters. The decision to no longer welcome it into the sacred spaces of my mind is a step into freedom. And I will take that step again tomorrow, and again the next day, until the muscle of trust grows stronger, until peace becomes my instinct, until I recognize anxiety not as a sign to worry, but as a cue to return to you. When I feel the familiar stir of tension in my chest, let it be a reminder to pause, to breathe, to remember. When my mind starts racing ahead to things that have not happened yet, bring me back to now. When I feel like I am failing because I am not producing or fixing or knowing enough, whisper to my soul that being still is not the same as being weak. It is strength in surrender. It is power under the covering of peace. Let today be different. Not because everything outside is calm, but because something inside is being restored. Because I am no longer bowing to the god of anxiety. I am lifting my eyes to the one who made me for more. You did not create me to live braced for disaster. You created me to live anchored in hope. So I receive that truth today. I receive it as an invitation and a declaration. That I am not bound to the rhythm of worry, that I can walk through this life with a quiet confidence that comes from knowing who I belong to. Lord, thank you for meeting me here, for not demanding perfection before peace, for welcoming me even when my heart is still learning how to rest, for teaching me gently, for staying close when my thoughts drift. You are not measuring me by how calm I appear. You are shaping me by how willing I am to trust. And today, I am willing, even if my voice trembles, even if my thoughts wander, even if I have to remind myself every hour that you are in control and I do not have to be. I choose to walk through this day differently. I choose to move slowly when anxiety tells me to rush. I choose to smile when fear tells me to brace. I choose to sit in quiet when the noise tries to crowd in. I choose to rest when the world tells me I should hustle. I choose to speak gently to myself instead of repeating old narratives of pressure and shame. I choose to believe that I am not what I produce. I am not the outcome of every task. I am not the weight of every problem. I am yours, and you are mine. And that is enough. That has always been enough. Even when I forget, even when I run, even when I reach for control, your presence remains my place of peace. So I return again. I choose peace again. And I keep walking, one step at a time, no longer in agreement with anxiety, but in alignment with your love. Father, as I lean into this new rhythm of walking free from anxiety, I find myself needing something more than discipline or effort. I need memory, not the memory of what went wrong or where I fell short, but the memory of who you have been to me all along. Because even in moments when fear tried to shape my story, you were already writing a deeper narrative, one of faithfulness, rescue, and mercy that met me long before I realized I needed it. God, you know every page of my story. You know the moments I almost gave up and the ones when I did. You know the nights I cried quietly into my pillow, not because I did not believe you were there, but because I was too tired to ask again. You remember the details. I have tried to forget the prayers whispered from hospital rooms, the disappointments I could not explain, the losses that knocked the air out of my lungs. But you also remember what came after. You remember how you held me together, how you carried me when I thought I was broken beyond repair. And now, as I pause to look back, I realize you were never absent. Not once. Lord, help me recall what my heart has forgotten. Remind me of the times you answered before I asked. Remind me of the closed doors that protected me, the redirections that looked like failure, but were really mercy. Remind me of the small graces when provision came just in time, when a friend called without knowing I needed them, when a verse leapt off the page and read like a letter written just for me. These were not coincidences. They were fingerprints. Yours. In a world that moves fast, that demands I stay busy, productive, ahead I forget. I forget to reflect. I forget to breathe and remember that you have been good, not just in theory, but in the grit and dust of my real life. You were good when I was waiting. You were good when I was lost. You were good even when I was angry, even when I pulled away, even when I doubted your timing or questioned your silence. And somehow, you loved me through it all. You did not just meet me when I was faithful, you met me when I was fractured. So today, I look back, not with shame or regret, but with reverence. I trace the lines of my story, and I find you there, again and again, steady in places where I was anything but. When I thought I was alone, you were already moving pieces into place. When I thought I had been forgotten, you were whispering to someone's heart to check on me, pray for me, Speak life over me. I see now that rescue does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like surviving. Like waking up again when I did not think I could. Like laughing on a day I thought would be too heavy. Like finding hope in the middle of the waiting. God, your faithfulness is not defined by my emotions. It is not proven only in the breakthroughs. It is displayed in the in-betweens, the slow days, the quiet mornings, the seasons where nothing made sense, and yet I was still sustained. You have been faithful through detours and delays. You have been kind through transitions and trials. You have been present in the middle of my confusion and my clarity. And when I look back with eyes open to your goodness, I cannot help but worship. Let gratitude rise inside me like a wave. Let it drown out the complaints I have rehearsed too often. Let it wash over the doubts that still linger in the corners of my thoughts. Gratitude not rooted in everything being perfect, but in the unchanging truth that you have always been near. I do not want to become so focused on what is ahead that I lose sight of the altar stones behind me, the markers of your mercy, the moments when you came through. Let them be my reminder that I am not starting from scratch. I am moving forward with evidence. Lord, I thank you for the way you have woven healing through heartbreak, for the way you have layered hope into loss, for the way you have brought beauty out of broken places. There were chapters I wanted to skip, pages I wanted to tear out. But now I see that you were there even then, and that part of the miracle is that I am still here. Still standing. Still believing, not because I am strong, but because you are. Help me carry these memories with intention. Help me build a rhythm of remembering, not just in crisis, not only in silence, but as part of my daily life. When anxiety tries to return, let these memories speak louder. When fear begins to rise, let this history ground me. When uncertainty clouds my vision, let the evidence of your faithfulness become my lens. You were faithful then. You will be faithful now. I do not need to fear the future when I remember your hand in my past. I do not need to panic over the unknown when I know how often you have already provided, protected, and led me through darkness into light. You have never left me. You have never failed me. And if that was true then, is still true now, Lord, help me write it down. The details, the turning points, the answered prayers, the divine interruptions. Let me create space in my life to reflect on what you have done. Let me be a storyteller of your goodness, not just to others, but to myself. Because sometimes the person who needs reminding the most is me. Sometimes I forget how far we have come. Sometimes I overlook the strength I did not know I had. Sometimes I need to hear myself say, God did that, and He will do it again. You are not just the God of my present moment. You are the author of every chapter, the redeemer of every mistake, the healer of every wound. And if you have walked with me through the storms I thought would drown me, surely you will walk with me through this one too. I will not let temporary trouble erase the eternal truth of who you are. So as I breathe in this morning air and sit in the quiet once more, I breathe in remembrance. I inhale history. I fill my lungs with the record of your faithfulness, and I let it shape my posture today. Upright, open, expectant. Not because I know what is coming, because I know who is coming with me. And if you have never failed me before, I have no reason to believe you will start now. Let my praise be rooted not in what I hope will happen, but in what I know already has. Let my peace be anchored in the proof of your goodness that I carry with me every step forward. Father, as I continue to reflect on all the ways you have carried me, something begins to settle in my spirit. It is not a loud feeling. It does not rush in like a flood. It is quiet, like a soft light slowly filling the corners of a dark room. It is peace, not the kind I have tried to force, not the kind that comes and goes depending on how well life is going. This peace feels deeper. It does not make sense according to the world's logic. And yet, it feels more real than anything else I have known. God. For so long I thought peace was something I had to chase. I thought I had to earn it by getting everything in order, by fixing, solving, arranging, avoiding anything that might disrupt it. But I see now how exhausting that pursuit has been. The peace I tried to build with my own hands was fragile. It shattered at the first sign of trouble. It collapsed under pressure. But the peace you give is different. It is not built on the absence of problems, but on the presence of your truth. It does not shift when circumstances change. It holds. It anchors. It endures. I remember now the moments I should have crumbled, but somehow did not. Times when everything was uncertain, but I was not destroyed. Times when I did not have answers, but I had calm. That was you. That was your peace showing up where nothing else could. Not always removing the storm, but always steadying me in the middle of it. It did not always make the pain go away, but it kept the pain from taking over. That kind of peace can't be explained. It can only be experienced. Lord, help me recognize that this peace is not a luxury for the rare moments when life is still. It is a gift meant for today, for this hour, this minute, this breath. It is not far away. It is not something I have to search for like a hidden treasure. It is already here, available, offered, and the more I surrender, the more space it takes up in me. The more I stop trying to control the uncontrollable, the more your peace has room to stretch, to breathe, to speak. You are not asking me to pretend everything is okay. You are simply inviting me to trust that you are. And when I do, I begin to feel the weight lift, not because the burdens disappear, but because I am no longer carrying them alone. I begin to feel a stillness rise in the center of me, a knowing that cannot be shaken, a softness that does not come from giving up, but from letting go, from loosening my grip and leaning into the arms that never let go of me. Father, your peace is a mystery and a miracle. It guards not just my thoughts, but my emotions. It stands at the door of my heart like a shield. It keeps fear from gaining access. It silences the voices of pressure. It reminds me that I am held. And when I start to forget, when old habits of stress try to take over again, it gently draws me back to stillness, back to center, back to you. I need that kind of peace right now, in the midst of decisions I do not yet understand, in the face of questions I do not yet have answers to, in the tension of doing what I can and leaving what I can't in your hands. I need peace not just for the big storms, but for the daily struggles, for the quiet worries that wake me in the middle of the night, for the responsibilities that weigh heavier than anyone knows, for the choices that no one else sees but still stretch my soul. And so I receive it. I 1T resist it, 1T downplay it, 1T treat it like something fragile. I will let it take up residence in me. I will let it change how I move through my day. Let it slow my breath, soften my tone, calm my reactions. Let it shape my posture, not one of defensiveness or urgency, but one of quiet trust. Because peace is not weakness, it is power. It is the strength to remain grounded when the world wants to pull me in 100 directions. Let it fill the spaces where anxiety used to live. Let it replace the tension that once made my shoulders ache. Let it quiet the thoughts that once raced ahead of me. Let it hold me steady so that I can be a source of steadiness for others. Because the peace you give is not just for me. It overflows. It reaches beyond me. It becomes a refuge not only for my heart, but for every heart I touch. God, remind me that peace is not passive. It does not mean doing nothing. It means doing everything with you. With your spirit leading, your truth guiding, your presence surrounding. I can make plans from a place of peace. I can speak with authority from a heart that is not frantic. I can face the unknown not with fear, but with a quiet strength that says, even if I do not know what happens next, I know who is with me. Let this be the way I move now, not rushed, not scattered, not striving, but steady. Let my words carry peace. Let my hands offer peace. Let my very presence become an extension of the peace you have placed in me, not because I have mastered it, but because I have chosen to stay rooted in it, even when it does not make sense, especially when it does not make sense, and when the world questions it, when others do not understand how I am still standing, still calm, still smiling through the unknown. Let it be a testimony not of my strength, but of yours. Let it point back to the one who meets me every morning, who holds me every night, who fills the spaces in between with a peace so deep, so wide, so holy, that words will never do it justice. Father, thank you for peace that reaches beneath the surface. Thank you for calm that does not depend on conditions. Thank you for presence that stills the storm within. I choose to stay here, to let this peace become the rhythm of my soul, to let it walk with me into every room, every meeting, every decision, every conversation, not because everything is simple, but because you are not shaken. And because you are not shaken, I do not have to be either. So even as the noise rises and the world continues to spin, I stay grounded, I stay steady, I stay held. I carry this peace not as a possession to protect, but as a promise to embody, a quiet but powerful assurance that I am not lost, not alone, not forgotten. I am known, I am kept, I am covered by a peace that passes all understanding, and that will never leave. Father, as I sit quietly in the peace that has begun to settle within me, I recognize something else lingering beneath the surface. It is not fear, and it is not confusion, not anymore. It is the deep, persistent desire to understand, to make sense of what I have walked through, to connect all the pieces and see the full picture. It is the H to know why certain doors closed, why some prayers felt unanswered, why the road had to bend in ways I did not expect. And though peace holds me gently, I can still feel this part of me reaching for clarity. But today, I want to release that too. Lord, you know my heart. You know how much I long to find meaning in the moments that broke me. You know how I search for purpose in the detours and the delays. I want to know why the timing did not match my hope, why some people stayed and others walked away, why the things I prayed for with all my heart did not unfold the way I imagined. And yet, even as I ask these questions, I feel you reminding me that trust does not always come with answers. Sometimes trust is what holds me together when the answers do not come. God, I do not need you to explain every detail. I just need you to stay close. I need you to remind me that understanding is not a prerequisite for peace, that I do not have to figure it all out to rest in you, that letting go of control is not the same as letting go of hope. I can release my grip on the need to know and still hold tightly to the truth of who you are. You have never asked me to carry the full blueprint. You have never demanded that I map out every twist and turn. You have only asked me to follow, to walk with you step by step, breath by breath. And though part of me still wants to see the path stretched out ahead, I am learning that your goodness does not depend on how well I understand your ways. It is simply who you are. Father, help me surrender my questions, not because they are wrong, but because they are too heavy to hold alone. I lay them at your feet, every why that still echoes in my heart, every how that has not found resolution, every when that lingers in silence. I bring them all to you not to demand answers, but to offer trust, not to control, but to confess my dependence. Teach me how to live in the tension between mystery and belief. Help me see that there is beauty in not knowing, that there is strength in walking by faith when sight fails, that there is grace in admitting I do not have it all figured out and probably never will. Let my security be rooted not in certainty about my circumstances, but in the unchanging nature of your love. I think of all the times I begged for clarity, and you gave me presence instead, and in hindsight, that was the better gift, because clarity can fade, but presence sustains. Explanations may comfort for a moment, but your nearness carries me through the night, and even now, as my heart still tries to understand, I choose to lean into the truth that I am fully known and fully loved even in my unknowing. God, I do not want my peace to depend on predictability. I do not want my faith to be limited by my comprehension. I want to trust you when the path is winding, when the answers are delayed, when nothing makes sense, and yet somehow I am still being carried. I want to stop demanding that you work according to my timeline and start trusting you are always working, even when I can see it. Let this be the moment I stop asking for perfect understanding and start asking for deeper surrender. Let it be the turning point where I trade my need for control for quiet confidence that you hold what I cannot, that you see what I cannot, that you are already in the tomorrow I keep worrying about, making a way through the questions I have not learned how to answer. You never promised to explain everything. You promised to be with me, and that is more than enough. That promise is what steadies me now. It is what allows me to exhale, to release, to unclench my hands and open them in trust. I do not need every puzzle piece to praise you. I do not need a full map to follow you. I just need to stay near, to remain in the posture of dependence, to keep walking in the direction of your voice, even when my eyes cannot see the path clearly. Father, help me silence the voice inside that tells me I should have it all figured out by now. Help me reject the pressure to explain my journey to others when I am still discovering it for myself. Let me be at peace with mystery. Let me find rest in the unknown. Let me discover the freedom of walking without striving, of believing without demanding every detail be revealed. You are not a God who withholds to punish. You are a God who leads with patience, a God who reveals in perfect timing, when I am ready, when the moment is right. And until then, I will choose to praise you in the process, to trust you in the waiting, to walk with you through every question, every silence, every space between what was and what will be. Let this trust become my resting place. Let it become the lens through which I see my story. Let it settle the inner storm that always rises when I cannot make sense of what I see. And let it build in me a resilience not rooted in answers, but in relationship, a quiet, unshakable assurance that you are still God, still good, still present, even when the pieces do not yet connect, even when the reasons remain hidden, even when the story still feels unfinished. You are writing something beautiful, and I am a part of it, even if I do not yet understand how all the chapters fit together. So I release the weight of needing to know. I set it down so I can move freely. I open my hands so you can place in them something better than explanation, peace, presence, and the promise that I am never alone in the mystery. Father, as I release my need to understand and rest in the mystery of your presence, I begin to notice how many other voices have tried to fill that space. The moment I choose surrender, the noise creeps back in subtle, persistent, demanding my attention. There are messages coming from every direction, offering opinions, feeding urgency, steering doubt. They do not always sound harmful. Some sound helpful. Some sound reasonable. But too many voices, even kind ones, drown out the one voice I need most. Yours, Lord. I realize how loud the world has become. There is noise in my hands the moment I wake up. It greets me in notifications, in headlines, in conversations that pull my mind in 100 directions before my feet even touch the floor. I scroll, I skim, I listen, and suddenly I find myself full but not with peace, full of other people's thoughts, full of fear I did not start with, full of worries that are not even mine. I feel it tightening in my chest. Not because you have changed, because I have tuned in to everything else before tuning into you. God, I need help learning how to turn it all down, not to escape the world, but to hear you more clearly in the middle of it. You are always speaking, always guiding, always present, but so often, your voice is a whisper that gets buried beneath the static. Not because you are silent, but because I have not made space. And I want to change that. I want to live from a place of stillness. Not overstimulation. I want to begin each day with your truth louder than every headline, every fear, every opinion. Help me be honest about the things that are shaping me, about the media I consume, the conversations I replay, the comparisons I feed without meaning to. Show me what is stealing my peace and calling it normal. Show me what I have allowed to influence me that does not carry your spirit. I do not want to be led by algorithms. I want to be led by grace. I do not want to be discipled by strangers' opinions. I want to be transformed by your word. Father, teach me how to protect the sacred spaces of my heart. I do not want to give away my peace in exchange for noise. I do not want to lose my clarity because I kept too many windows open. Let discernment grow in me, not just to recognize what is wrong, but to choose what is right, what is helpful, what is nourishing. Silence is not empty when it is filled with you. It is healing. It is strength. It is where I remember who I am and who I am not. There is so much pulling at me, so many messages telling me who I should be, what I should fear, how I should respond. But your voice cuts through all of it with something simpler, deeper. Be still. Come to me. Abide. I do not have to keep up with the pace of the world. I only have to keep in step with you. And your pace is peace. Your pace is presence. Your pace is patient, steady, and sure. Help me create rhythms that reflect that truth. Let me not be reactive, jumping from one urgent thing to the next. Let me be grounded, intentional, rooted in what matters. Let my first response be prayer, not panic. Let my default be presence, not distraction. Let me build a life where stillness is not the exception, but the foundation, where silence is not feared but welcomed, where I find joy in simplicity instead of chasing complexity. Lord, I bring you the clutter in my mind, the endless thoughts competing for space, the unfinished conversations I carry around, the guilt over things I have not done, the pressure to be more, do more, prove more. I lay it all down, piece by piece. I choose quiet, not because I do not care, because I care enough to listen to what matters most. I want to hear you again without the filter of fear, without the interruption of comparison, without the commentary of the world trying to redefine what you already said. Remind me that clarity does not come from adding more noise. It comes from subtracting what is not yours. Let me not confuse constant input with wisdom. Let me not mistake information for revelation. I do not need more voices. I need your voice. I do not need more advice. I need your guidance. I do not need more content. I need more communion. Let me return to the quiet place where my soul remembers it was never meant to be entertained, it was meant to be transformed. Father, give me courage to unplug, to pause, to walk away from the conversations that do not lead to life, to close the tabs that stir anxiety, to limit the sources that cloud my focus. Let me make room again, room for wonder, room for scripture, room for the gentle nudge of your spirit that I have so often missed in the rush. I want a life that is not full of noise, but full of you. And when I feel the urge to fill every quiet moment with distraction, remind me that silence is not empty when it is sacred. Teach me how to sit still long enough to hear what is really happening inside me, to let the dust settle, to invite you into the places I have been too busy to notice. Let stillness become the soil where peace grows and takes deep root. God, show me how to filter what I take in, not just what I see or hear, but what I meditate on. Let your truth become my filter. Let your promises become the measure. Let your spirit become my guide through every decision. Every conversation, every influence that tries to shape me. I do not want to be shaped by noise. I want to be shaped by you. Help me return to your word, not just for information, but for intimacy. Let it become the loudest voice in my day. Let it quiet the storm of opinions. Let it anchor me when I am tempted to drift. Let it feed my spirit until I no longer crave what once drained me. Your word brings life. It brings peace. It brings perspective. And when I turn down the volume of the world, I can finally hear it again. So here I am, in the quiet of this morning, choosing once more to tune into what is eternal. I can control all the noise outside, but I control what I welcome inside. I can choose peace over pressure. I can choose truth over tension. I can choose stillness over striving. I can choose to let your voice be the one that leads me, calms me, defines me. This is where I want to live, not in the chaos, but in communion, not in distraction, but in devotion. And with every step I take today, let that choice echo in the rhythm of my breath, in the tone of my words, in the posture of my soul. Let the quiet speak louder than the noise ever could. Let the peace speak for itself. And let your voice be the sound I never stop listening for. Father, now that I am learning to turn down the volume of the world, I begin to notice something even more personal there. Our thoughts within me that have been speaking for so long. I forgot to question where they came from. They sound familiar. They sound reasonable. But not everything that sounds right is true. Some of these thoughts have shaped the way I see myself, the way I see others, and even the way I see you. And in the quiet, I can finally hear them for what they are: lies that have worn the mask of truth. Lord, I need you to help me identify the falsehoods I have allowed to take root in my heart. I need you to reveal the subtle distortions I have accepted as facts, things I have heard from others, things I have repeated to myself, words spoken in weakness that I took as identity, lies like I am too much or I am not enough, lies that say I am alone, lies that suggest you are distant or indifferent, Lies that claim my value is tied to my performance, that my worth is based on what I can produce, that my brokenness disqualifies me from being used by you. God, I ask for your light to expose every thought that has taken space in my mind but does not belong. I have carried some of these beliefs for years, maybe since childhood, maybe since heartbreak. I did not know they were lies. They were whispered in moments of pain, reinforced in seasons of silence, and now they feel like part of me. But I know you did not speak them, and anything you did not say, I do not want to keep. Help me tear down every lie that has tried to become a part of my identity. Help me rebuild my mind with truth. I do not just want to silence the noise outside. I want to confront the false narratives within. I want to stop agreeing with thoughts that tear me down, that limit my faith, that make me question your goodness. I want to stop making room for shame and calling it humility. I want to stop labeling anxiety as wisdom. I want to stop justifying my fear as being realistic. These are not truths. They are tricks. They feel safe because they are familiar, but they are cages, not shelter. And I want to be free. Lord, I know that freedom starts with truth, not just reading it, but believing it, not just hearing it, but replacing what was false with what is real. You said I am chosen. You said I am loved. You said I am known. You said I am forgiven. You said I am never alone. You said you are for me, not against me. You said you have plans for my future. These are not hopeful wishes. These are declarations written by the hand of the one who cannot lie. So why have I let other words sit louder in my heart? Why have I allowed the memory of rejection to speak louder than the reality of your acceptance? Why have I replayed criticism over and over, while skipping over the words have spoken in Scripture? Help me, Father, to rewrite the soundtrack in my mind. Replace every lie with your truth. Let your word be louder than my memories. Let your promises be stronger than my doubts. Let your voice rise above every whisper that has tried to keep me small. I confess the lies I have believed, not to dwell on them, but to reject them. I confess the times I have told myself I will never change. The times I have assumed others are always better. The times I have doubted that you could love someone as complicated as me. I confess the times I have called myself unworthy, even though you have already called me your own. And I bring these thoughts to you, not hidden, not justified, but exposed and surrendered. Teach me how to guard my mind, to take every thought captive, to test the words I hear and the ones I speak, to stop letting emotion be the only filter. Let me learn to ask, is this true? Is this what you have said? Is this how you see me? Because if it is not from you, I do not want to live by it anymore. I want to build my life on the firm foundation of truth, not shifting opinions, not painful history, not distorted reflections. Just truth, pure, eternal, life-giving. God, I pray you would create in me a sensitivity to lies that sound like truth. Show me when words are twisted just enough to feel right, but lead to fear. Show me when Scripture is misused to keep me bound, instead of setting me free. Let discernment grow in me, not suspicion, but wisdom. Let me know the difference between conviction and condemnation, between challenge and shame, between correction and control. Let me also be aware of the words I speak to others. Help me not to echo lies in someone else's story. Let my words reflect truth, grace, and love. Let my conversations point people back to who they really are in you, not who the world says they are. Not who pain tells them they have become, but who you designed them to be. A vessel of peace, a child of light, a voice that speaks life. And when I slip back into old thought patterns, when lies try to sneak back in, remind me gently. Let your spirit nudge me with truth again. Let scripture rise up like a shield. Let worship be the reset button for my heart. Let stillness remind me of what is real. I do not want to live from reaction. I want to live from revelation, from the unshakable reality that I am who you say I am. So, Father, here and now, I choose to break the agreement with every lie I have believed. I choose to stop repeating narratives that do not from you. I choose to release thoughts that never brought peace, never brought hope, never brought healing. I choose to speak truth over my life, even when it feels unfamiliar, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when I have to repeat it every single day until it sinks into my bones. You are not a God of confusion. You are not a God who manipulates with fear. You are the God of clarity, of freedom, of identity. And I want to live like I believe that again. I want my thoughts to reflect heaven, not just history. I want my mindset to be shaped by your spirit, not by my scars. I want to be transformed not just emotionally, but mentally. And that begins with truth. Let truth be my compass. Let truth be my anchor. Let truth be my home. Not the kind of truth that shifts with feelings, but the kind that stands when everything else falls. The kind that restores, that renews, that rebuilds. The kind that reminds me who you are and reminds me who I am in you. And every day forward, let me keep returning to this truth. Let me keep speaking it. Let me keep choosing it. Let it rise above every lie that once felt familiar. Let it light the path ahead, steady and sure, because your truth is the only voice worth following, the only voice that leads to peace, to purpose, to real life. Lord, as I continue this journey with you, I bring to you the tears that still find their way down my cheeks. They do not come as strangers, but as remnants of nights I thought would never end and storms I believed would never pass. And yet, I bring them now not as symbols of defeat, but as offerings of surrender. They fall, but they do not weaken me, 'cause with every drop, there is a whisper of your nearness. I come to you now with a heart that is still tender, but no longer shattered, for you have begun the holy work of piecing me back together in ways the world could never understand. I sense you, here, not in loud declarations or thunderous signs, but in the quiet strength that has carried me through. My wounds are not fully healed, but I trust that even the H has purpose in your hands. These tears are no longer cries of desperation, but rivers that lead me closer to your heart. I do not need to have all the answers today. I do not need to understand the reasons why. I only need to rest in the truth that you are trustworthy and true. When I thought I was walking alone, I now realize you were cradling me. When I questioned if you still heard me, you were writing new pages in the story I could not yet see. So I pause here in the early light, feeling both fragile and fierce fragile because I have been broken, and fierce because I know now that being broken in your presence is the beginning of becoming whole. I lay down my questions again, not in defeat, but in devotion. I trust that you are good, even when I do not yet see the good, God. You are the one who has walked with me through every unanswered prayer, every silent hour, and every tear-soaked pillow. And still, you remain. You are not hurried by time nor threatened by my fears. You wait for me to remember that I am already held. So today I choose to release what I cannot fix, to stop grasping for control, and to lean instead into the arms that have never let me go. The world has taught me to hide my pain, but you invite me to bring it to the altar, to pour it out not in shame, but in sacred vulnerability. What the world sees as weakness, you call holy ground. What the world tells me to bury, you tell me to lay at your feet. I will not pretend with you. You already know, you already see. So I give you my tears, not to be dismissed, but to be transformed. Believe you collect them, that not a single one is wasted, and that somewhere in the unseen, they water the seeds of hope you are planting deep within me. Lord, I do not need all the pieces to make sense for me to trust you. I do not need a map. I need your hand. I do not need perfection. I need presence. And you have promised that even to the end of the age, you are with me. That is enough. That is more than enough. So I walk forward today not because I am strong, but because you are. I walk forward today not because I am sure, but because I am sure of you. Let that be the anchor that steadies me when the winds return. I carry scars, yes, but they remind me of battles I did not fight alone. I carry memories that still sting, but even those are now soaked in grace. You are turning what once haunted me into holy ground. I breathe deeper now, not because everything has changed, but because I have. You are shaping me in the waiting, refining me in the weeping. What was once a wound is slowly becoming a wellspring, one from which I can draw deeper compassion, gentler strength, and a more enduring faith. Even if my voice trembles, let it still praise you. Even if my steps are slow, let them still follow you. Even if my heart feels fragile, let it still trust you. I have seen enough of your faithfulness to keep going. I have tasted just enough of your goodness to believe that more is coming. You do not leave stories unfinished. You do not leave hearts abandoned. You do not ignore the ones who call your name in the dark. So even if today brings more tears, I will lift them to you as my song. I will trust you in the breaking, knowing you are building something I cannot yet see. God, what feels like loss may be the pruning before the bloom. What feels like silence may be the space where you are preparing new songs. What feels like endings may be the soil of new beginnings. So I trust you now not just with what I hope for, but with what I fear. I trust you with the pieces that do not yet fit, and the chapters I do not yet understand. I trust that you are already ahead of me, preparing healing, preparing answers, preparing peace. So take these tears not to erase them, but to redeem them. Take these memories not to forget them, but to fill them with new meaning. Take this heart not to harden it, but to make it more alive than it has ever been. Let me become someone who knows how to weep without shame and walk without fear. Let me learn to trust not only when I see, but when I still wonder. Let me rest not in what I know, but in who I know you to be. In the quiet between sorrow and sunrise, I choose trust. I choose you, God. As I linger in this moment of stillness, I sense the subtle shift from the reflections of yesterday into the quiet courage I now need to step forward. The peace you planted in me continues to unfold like morning light stretching over the horizon. And now, Father, as I exhale the weight of what I do not control, I inhale the still assurance that you are already ahead of me in all things. The rhythm of your faithfulness continues, undisturbed by the chaos that may surround me. There is comfort in knowing that even if I walk into mystery, you remain my unchanging source. The roads that stretch before me may twist and turn, but your voice whispers a steady path through every bend. I do not know what waits around the corner, but I know who waits with me. My trust is not a loud declaration, but a quiet posture, a gentle leaning toward your promise when nothing else is clear. Father, teach my heart to beat in time with your leading. Let me not be quick to rush ahead nor lag behind, but to walk in step with grace as it unfolds moment by moment. Even when the answers delay, help me to remain grounded in truth. Let patience become my anchor. Let peace be the lens through which I see delay not as denial, but as divine preparation. When uncertainty begins to stir anxiety, still my soul, quiet the noise of fear and replace with the hum of holy assurance. In every pause, let there be praise. In every waiting space, let me find you more than enough. God, it is often in the unseen places that your greatest work unfolds. Though I may not yet perceive it, I choose to believe you are moving. When doors remain shut, help me not to knock out of desperation, but to wait with confidence, trusting that what opens will be for my good. Remind me that you waste nothing, not even my uncertainty. You use it to refine, to deepen, to draw me closer than I was before. There is something sacred in the in-between, in the days that feel stretched between longing and fulfillment. Meet me there. Let me not measure my peace by the clarity of my plans, but by the closeness of your presence. Teach me to rest not in outcomes, but in obedience. Help me release control without fear of collapse. For in every surrender, you uphold me with strength unseen. Let my focus shift from what is missing to what remains unshakable. Your character has never failed. You have always been faithful. Even when I doubted, let that history become my hope. Let my story echo with testimonies of how you showed up just in time, not always how I expected, but always with purpose. Give me the courage to expect your goodness, even when the signs are not yet visible. Father, if today brings decisions, let wisdom speak louder than worry. If today brings trials, let endurance rise with grace. If today brings silence, let it echo with the assurance that I am never alone. And if today simply unfolds quietly, Let me not miss the miracles hidden in the ordinary, the breath in my lungs, the sky above, the small kindnesses that remind me I am held by something greater than myself. Let my words be few but full of meaning. Let my thoughts be lifted, not weighed down. Let my actions reflect trust, not control. I do not have to have everything figured out. I simply have to be available to listen, to follow, to rest in the fact that you are guiding even when I cannot see the way ahead. Give me eyes to notice the divine interruptions, the moments where grace whispers through inconvenience or where love waits behind what seems like delay. Help me to live gently with myself in this season, to honor my humanity without abandoning my hope. Remind me that growth often looks like quiet resilience, and faith often flourishes in hidden places. Lord, thank you for not requiring perfection, only presence. You invite me to come as I am, with trembling hands and wary steps. And you meet me with mercy new every morning. Let that mercy shape the way I move through this day. Let it be the lens through which I see others, extending to them the same grace that steadies me. Teach me to embrace the mystery without demanding to understand it. Not all questions need immediate answers. Some just need space to breathe, to be held before you without urgency. Let my faith be curious, not clenched. Let my trust stretch wide enough to contain what I cannot explain. In the space between knowing and not knowing, let your peace be my home. There is something beautiful about beginning again each day with you. No matter what yesterday held, today starts with fresh mercy, fresh light, fresh opportunity to believe again. I choose to step into this day, not because I am confident in myself, but because I am confident in you. You have never left me without a way, even when the map was unclear. You have always marked my steps with purpose. If I falter today, let it be into your arms. If I lose sight of what matters, redirect my gaze gently back to you. If I grow tired, remind me to rest, not to quit. If I begin to worry, whisper truth over my fear. Let your nearness be my answer. Let your presence be enough. Even in moments when I do not feel strong, let my spirit remember that your power is made perfect in weakness. I am not expected to carry the weight alone. I was made to lean, so here I am, leaning again and again and again, not as failure but as faith. Leaning is not falling. It is trusting you to hold what I cannot. Let my surrender not feel like defeat, but like freedom. The kind of freedom that lifts the heaviness and makes room for joy. The kind of freedom that comes when I stop striving and start abiding. This is where peace grows, in the soil of letting go, in the sacred silence that speaks louder than fear ever could. So I breathe deep and open my hands. I will not chase after what you have not called me to carry. I will not force what you have not yet revealed. I will not fear the path ahead simply because it is unfamiliar. You are already there. You go before me, and that is enough. My heart settles in the rhythm of trust. Not loud, not dramatic, just steady, just consistent, just real. Trust that even when I do not feel it, you are near. Even when I do not see it, you are working. Even when I do not understand, you are faithful. That truth is my anchor. That reality is my rest. And as this day unfolds, I will return again and again to this place of quiet confidence, not in my circumstances, but in you. This is where I begin. This is where I stay. This is where I am held completely, safely, faithfully, always, Lord. As I rest in the steady rhythm of your presence, my heart finds quiet again. The assurance from before still lingers like dew on the morning grass, reminding me that you are the keeper of each moment, the watcher of every unseen turn. And now, Father, as the day beckons me forward, I ask for more than strength. I ask for discernment. Let this not just be a day of motion, but a day of meaningful movement, where each step is lit by wisdom that comes from above, not from fleeting emotion or hurried thought. In a world that speaks loudly and often contradicts itself, I long to hear the gentle clarity of your voice. Teach me to recognize it not always in grand revelations, but in the still, small whispers that echo within when I quiet everything else. I do not want to walk blindly, reacting to the noise around me. I want to respond in grace and truth, guided not by impulse, but by insight. Let my decisions today be shaped by wisdom, not weariness, by patience, not pressure. God, when multiple options stretch before me, help me not to rush the process of choosing. Let me pause long enough to ask, to listen, to wait. If silence meets my questions, let me trust that silence can also be holy, not a void but a space you fill slowly with peace. Let me not confuse inactivity with indecision, or mistake waiting with weakness. Sometimes the holiest steps are the ones not taken until you say, now. Show me how to weigh things not just by what they promise, but by what they produce. What brings life? What brings clarity? What leads to peace? What reflects your heart? These are the measures I want to live by, not urgency, not fear of missing out, not comparison to what others are doing. Help me to stop looking left and right and instead look up. What you have for me will not pass me by if I walk with you. Lord, I need the courage not only to start well, but to continue well. Sometimes, the path you lead me on is not the most impressive or applauded. It might even look slower or quieter. But if it is carved by your hand, it is the right way. Let me not second guess what I once prayed for simply because it requires endurance. Teach me that peace is not the absence of resistance, but the presence of your leading, even uncertainty. Let my instincts be shaped by prayer, my reactions softened by grace, my conclusions filtered through truth. Give me a discerning heart, one that sees beyond the surface, that notices what others overlook, not to judge, but to understand, not to boast, but to be wise. If someone around me needs help, let me recognize their silent need. If someone needs encouragement, let me offer words that refresh, not just fill space. God, when the day surprises me with decisions I did not expect to face, slow me down. Let me remember that rushing rarely honors you. Sometimes the most powerful choice is a breath of pause to return to you before I speak, before I act. Let me not be afraid to say, I do not know yet. Let me not be embarrassed to ask again for your clarity. I would rather move slowly in your will than swiftly in my own. If today I am presented with things that seem good, but not right, help me to know the difference. Teach me the discipline of saying no when necessary, even when yes would be easier. Give me eyes to see when opportunities are distractions dressed up in glitter. Help me resist what pulls me off course, no matter how appealing it appears. I want the path of substance, not surface, the road of purpose, not popularity. And if I make a misstep, Lord, meet me there too. Let me not be so afraid of making mistakes that I become paralyzed by the pressure to always choose perfectly. Your grace is not limited by my misjudgments. You are the God who corrects with kindness, who restores with gentleness. I am not navigating this life alone, and my growth matters more to you than my precision. Place people in my life today who will sharpen me, speak wisdom into my wanderings, and call me back when I veer. And just the same, make me that voice for others when the time comes. May I never grow so focused on my own path that I ignore the beauty of walking beside someone who needs a steadying hand or a word of light. Let me walk humbly, knowing that discernment is not about control, but about surrender. The more I trust you, the clearer things become, not always because circumstances change, but because you change the way I see. Let me not look only for open doors, but for your fingerprints on the handle. If it is not from you, no matter how promising, it is not for me. Teach me that clarity often grows in layers, not lightning strikes. Sometimes you reveal the next step, not the entire staircase, and that is enough. Let me take that step with confidence, trusting that as I go, the light will come, the path will widen, the peace will follow, because where you lead, you provide. Where you guide, you sustain. Where you dwell, there is no lack. God, remind me today that discernment is a gift of intimacy with you. The more I dwell in your presence, the more attuned I become to what carries your fragrance. Let me listen not just with my ears, but with my spirit. Let me see not just with my eyes, but with a heart calibrated to your rhythm. Let the noise of the world fade, just enough for the sacred stillness to break through. Help me not to seek signs when what I need is surrender. Help me not to demand certainty when what you offer is peace. And when you answer in a way that challenges me, give me the humility to receive it. Let me grow in trust, not just in knowledge. Let my discernment come not from how much I know, but from how deeply I rely on you. As I go forward, may I not only ask for the right path, but for the right posture, a spirit that is yielded, a mind that is renewed, a heart that is clean. I do not want to navigate this day on autopilot. I want to live it alert, aware, and aligned. Every decision, every conversation, every direction I take, I want it to be touched by your wisdom, covered by your guidance, and grounded in love. Let me walk not with fear of what could go wrong, but with faith that you are making all things work together for good. Even if today feels quiet or uneventful, let me not underestimate what you are doing beneath the surface. Let me remain present, grounded, and sensitive to your whisper. Whether you speak through a word, a moment, or a still silence, I will be listening. I will be watching. I will be ready. So here I am again, Lord, standing at the edge of today with open hands and a ready heart. I do not need every detail. I do not need every answer. I simply need you. And that I already have, Lord, as I continue from where my heart last rested in your peace. I find myself needing something even deeper this morning, a stillness that only patience can bring. I do not mean the kind of waiting that grits its teeth and holds its breath until the noise passes, but a sacred quiet, an unhurried trust that sits calmly in the present moment without needing to control what comes next. Father, I know that patience is not passive, but powerful. It is not weakness, but a quiet strength rooted in knowing that you are never late, never unkind, never absent. So I come with this honest longing not for quicker answers or faster progress, but for the grace to slow down my spirit. Sometimes I feel like I am racing through life, measuring value by how much I can accomplish or how fast I can move forward. But what if this very moment, right here, right now, is exactly where you want me to be? What if growth is not about how far I have gone, but how willing I am to be molded where I stand? God, I confess that it is hard to be still when everything around me demands urgency. The world celebrates speed, rewards multitasking, and tells me that hustle is the only way forward. But you whisper a different rhythm. Yours is slower, more deliberate, more eternal. Yours is the rhythm of deep roots growing underground before fruit ever appears above. Remind me that waiting is not wasting when I am waiting with you. Let patience rise in me like a steady tide, not crashing waves that come and go, but a continual stream of peace washing over my anxious thoughts. I need it in the little things, the traffic that tries my nerves, the long lines that test my mood, the interruptions that break my flow, but even more, I need it in the deep places, in the waiting for change, in the healing of wounds, in the unfolding of prayers that are not yet answered. Let me meet those moments with a calm spirit, a trusting soul, a heart that does not rush the process. Teach me, Lord, that patience is not just enduring time, but trusting what you are doing with it. Even when I cannot see movement, you are at work. Even when the landscape looks unchanged, you are shaping the soil of my life in unseen ways, just as seeds must wait in the dark before breaking open into life. I too must learn the wisdom of resting in the hidden seasons, knowing they are not void but sacred. When I feel tempted to force outcomes or rush decisions, remind me that what is built in haste often crumbles, but what is forged in patience, with you at the center, stands firm through storms. Let me trust your timeline over my own. Let me lean into your process, even when I do not understand it. Give me the kind of patience that breathes deeply and surrenders fully, because it is anchored in who you are, not in how things appear. Father, when others try my patience, let me not respond with irritation, but with grace. Help me to remember that I too am a work in progress, that others carry burdens I cannot see, and that impatience often comes from forgetting compassion. Let me be slow to speak, quick to listen, and gentle in tone. Let the calm you place in me overflow to those around me. May my presence be peaceful, not pressured. May my words be soft, not sharp. May my reactions reflect you, not my own frustrations. When I look at situations that seem to drag on endlessly, a relationship that is not mending, a breakthrough that has not come, a dream that feels delayed, guard me from despair. And patience not be a resignation to hopelessness, but a declaration of faith. Even when nothing changes on the surface, I choose to believe that something holy is happening beneath. I believe you are weaving something beautiful in the waiting, even when I cannot trace the pattern. God, teach me to slow my steps, not only in action, but in thought. Let me savor conversations instead of rushing through them. Let me notice details instead of glossing over them. Let me be present to beauty, to laughter, to tears. Let me make room in my day for wonder, for watching a sunrise, for hearing a child's voice, for feeling the softness of still air. These are not interruptions. These are invitations, invitations to dwell, to breathe, to worship. When I am tempted to fill every moment with doing, remind me that being is also holy. Let me learn the rhythm of rest not as escape, but as obedience. Teach me that Sabbath is not just a day, but a posture of the heart, that I can live today in a way that honors you by refusing to rush, refusing to worry, refusing to let time become a tyrant. Let time instead become a gift, a canvas on which you paint each moment with purpose. Father, I need you to remind me that patience also applies to myself. There are days I grow frustrated with my own progress, expecting more strength, more clarity, more consistency than I seem able to give. Help me to be gentle with my own process, to celebrate the small steps, to forgive the setbacks, to remember that healing and growth are not linear. Let me trust that you are not finished with me, and that you are not disappointed in how long it takes. You delight in the journey, not just the destination. Let this day be lived with an unhurried heart. Let me walk, not run. Let me breathe, not panic. Let me pause, not push. Let me take in the moments you offer, each one a thread in the tapestry of grace you are weaving. Help me to remember that patience does not mean standing still forever, but it means moving only when you move, speaking only when you lead, acting only when love prompts me. May I begin to see patience not as something I must muster, but as something you grow within me, like fruit on a vine. It is nurtured over time, through abiding in you, through being pruned by your hand, through receiving the sun and the rain with equal gratitude. I cannot produce it on my own. I can only open myself to it and let it unfold in me as you see fit. Lord, in this sacred space of mourning, I surrender my timelines, my expectations, my urgency. I release the pressure to make things happen. I let go of the illusion that faster is better. I choose instead to rest in the truth that you are never in a hurry, but you are never late. Your timing is always filled with purpose, and your delays are never without reason. Thank you for being patient with me. Thank you for never giving up when I fall behind. Thank you for waiting for me when I take detours. Let your patient love be the model I carry into every interaction today. Let it shape my attitude when plans shift. Let it guard my heart when things move slower than I hoped. Let it remind me that this moment is enough, because you are in it. So as this day stretches before me, I ask for this one holy gift, a spirit that waits well, a heart that does not rush, a soul that trusts, a life that leans into your timing with open hands and a quiet confidence. This is how I want to live. This is how I want to walk, with patience, with peace, with you, God, as my heart leans deeper into the patience you have been nurturing within me. I feel the gentle tug of something even more radiant, joy that chooses to rise even in the middle of the waiting. I am beginning to understand that joy does not require everything to be resolved. It is not a reward only given when life is tidy and complete. Joy, in its purest form, blooms in the soil of surrender. It grows even when the answers have not yet come. It glows even when the sky remains cloudy. So today, I come not only asking to wait well, but to wait with joy, to live with a gladness that flows from your presence, not from my circumstances. Father, remind me that joy is not the same as happiness. Happiness may be fleeting, tied to moments that come and go, but your joy is rooted in eternity. It is deeper than emotion, stronger than mood. It is not loud or boastful, but quiet and powerful. It whispers in the silence. It holds steady in the storm. It is the song that plays softly beneath the noise of life, steady and unshaken. Even when the melody around me feels off-key, your joy keeps playing, calling me to listen beyond what I see. There is a joy, Lord, that comes not from what I receive, but from who you are. You are the source of gladness that cannot be stolen. Even in sorrow, you remain faithful. Even in confusion, you remain good. And this is why I can choose joy today, not because everything makes sense, but because you remain unchanged. Let that be enough to lift my eyes. Let that truth spark something holy in me, something resilient and radiant. As I rise into this morning, I want to greet the day not with dread, but with expectation. Let my first breath be filled with wonder, not worry. Let my steps be guided by gratitude, not fear. I want to see beauty in what is already here, not in what I hope to receive or achieve, but in the very moment I am breathing in now. There is joy in the ordinary, in the simple, in the overlooked. Help me not to rush past it. Let me notice the light breaking through my window and smile. Let me taste my morning coffee with gratitude, not as routine, but as gift. Let me hear the quiet sounds of morning, the soft hum of life, beginning again, and remember that each new day is a sacred invitation to live fully, not just to endure, not just to survive, but to live awake to joy, to choose it even when I have every excuse not to. God, in places where I feel discouraged, where I feel stuck or worn out, breathe fresh gladness into my soul. Not a forced positivity, not a fake smile, but a genuine joy that rises from knowing you are here and you are working, even in the shadows. I want to laugh again, not only when things are perfect, but when things are uncertain. I want to rejoice not just in victories, but in the process. Let me find joy in the journey, not just the destination. Sometimes, I catch myself postponing joy, thinking I will allow myself to feel it later when I finally overcome this struggle. When this prayer is answered, when I reach that goal, but what if joy is meant to be received now? What if it is waiting for me to stop striving and simply receive? You are not holding it back from me. I am the one who forgets that it is already offered. Teach me to open my heart wide and let it in. Joy does not mean everything feels easy. It means everything is held by you. Joy is the calm in my chest when I should be unraveling. It is the courage to smile when things are uncertain. It is the strength to believe that light is on the horizon. Even when I am still walking through the dusk, let joy settle deep in my bones like a quiet fire, not burning with noise, but glowing with steadiness. Father, help me carry this joy into my conversations. Let it soften my tone, lighten my expression, and bring warmth to those I meet. Joy is contagious when it is real. Let others feel uplifted simply by being near someone who has chosen joy, not because life is easy, but because faith is stronger. Let me become a wellspring of gladness, not a performer, but a vessel. In moments when heaviness tries to settle on my shoulders, teach me to respond with joy, not denial, not dismissal, but a holy defiance that says, even here, I will praise. Even now, I will sing. Let joy become my rebellion against despair. Let it be my testimony that you are greater than any valley I walk through. Let it be my declaration that this soul belongs to hope, and nothing can steal what you have placed within me. God, give me eyes to see how joy and pain can coexist, that even as tears fall, a deeper joy can remain, not in contrast to the grief, but woven within it, because you do not ask me to ignore sorrow, but to carry joy through it. This is the kind of joy that holds me together when things fall apart. The kind that does not disappear when the laughter ends. The kind that endures through midnights and reappears with the morning. Let my joy be rooted in eternity, in knowing that even if nothing else goes right today, I am still yours. I am still loved. I am still held. That truth alone is enough to light a fire in my spirit. I do not need everything to go according to plan. I just need you. And you are already here. That is where my joy begins and where it grows. Today, I will choose to see what is good. I will name the gifts, not the gaps. I will count the blessings, not the burdens. I will open my mouth in praise, not complaint. I will take hold of joy as both shield and song. I will celebrate progress, not just perfection. I will smile at the small things, a kind word, a cool breeze, the sight of something blooming where I thought nothing could grow. These are not trivial. These are treasures. Father, let me not wait for a reason to feel joy. Let me become the reason. Let me wake others with a kind word. Bring light into dark rooms with a gentle spirit, and carry peace like a candle in places where it is needed most. Let my joy be quiet but fierce. Let it be strong enough to endure disappointment, kind enough to lift the weary, and deep enough to outlast the storm. And when I find myself facing unknowns, when I walk into parts of the day that feel uncertain or heavy, remind me that joy is still an option. I can carry it like armor. I can wear it like fragrance. I can let it rise like dawn over the landscape of my heart. Because even when I cannot control what happens around me, I can choose how I carry what is within me. Thank you, God, for being the source of joy that does not run dry. Thank you for showing me that joy is not found in the absence of trouble, but in the presence of trust. Let this day be marked by delight not just in what is seen, but in what is unseen, not just in what is easy, but in what is eternal. So here I am, Lord, with open hands and an open heart, ready to receive what cannot be earned and cannot be lost. The joy that sings even when the night lingers. The joy that stays even when the world shifts. The joy that declares, you are good, you are here, and you are enough. Father, as the light of this new day touches the edges of my room, I carry with me the quiet joy that has begun to bloom from deep within. And yet, joy by itself is not always easy to hold when time feels slow or uncertain. I know you are working, even when the answers do not arrive at the pace I long for. And so today, I bring you the restlessness that lingers in my heart. I lay it down at your feet and ask you to teach me how to trust your timing, not just in theory, but with every breath and choice I make today. God, I confess that waiting often feels like a wilderness. There is silence, stillness, and sometimes the haunting voice of doubt. I begin to question whether I heard you right. I look for signs. I try to interpret delays. I search for meaning in moments that feel dry and unfruitful. But through all of it, you remain the same. You are not slow. You are not withholding. You are perfect in wisdom. And your timing is not based on my urgency, but on your eternal vision. Help me believe that again, especially when I am tempted to rush ahead or give up. It is hard sometimes, Lord, to accept that what is delayed is not denied. I want things to happen when I am ready. But maybe readiness is not about my preferences. Maybe it is about your perfect preparation. You are never late. You are always intentional. What you are building in me during the waiting is just as important as what I am waiting for. I do not want to miss that. I do not want to grow bitter in the in-between. Teach me to be faithful in the middle, to water the seeds with trust and let you determine the season of bloom. There is a quiet strength that comes from trusting you. Not the kind of strength that flexes its will, but the kind that surrenders its control. It is the strength to say, I do not need to understand the whole path to keep walking. I do not need to see the outcome to obey today. So strengthen me with that kind of trust. Let it fill my lungs like breath. Let it steady my thoughts when they start to wander toward fear. Let it anchor my soul when the waters around me feel unsteady. You see what I cannot. You know what I do not. You hold what I cannot carry. And in that truth, I find rest, not because everything is solved, but because you are sovereign, because you are the author, and you are still writing. Let me not try to snatch the pen from your hand. Let me not try to force a timeline you never intended. Help me to sit with you in this chapter, even if it is quieter, even if it feels slower than I imagined. If you are here, then it is holy. I choose to believe that time in your hands is never wasted. Even the moments I think are empty are filled with divine purpose. You are shaping me, refining me, transforming me. And though I may not see the changes right away, faith tells me that roots grow before fruit appears, that sometimes the invisible work is the most important. So give me eyes that trust, not just eyes that see. Let me measure progress by obedience, not by outcome. In the stillness of this morning, I want to release every clock I have tried to place in your hands, every deadline I have set, every ultimatum I have whispered in my desperation. Forgive me for the times I have tried to rush you, for the nights I have doubted because you did not answer when I wanted. You are not a vending machine for prayers. You are a Father who knows what is best, even when I do not. So I surrender my timeline. I release my demands. I rest in your rhythm. Teach me to enjoy where I am, even if it is not where I thought I would be. There is beauty here, too. There is learning, deepening, strengthening. There is grace for this place. Let me not miss the daily wonders because I am so focused on what is yet to come. Let me not grow numb to the blessings that surround me because I am fixated on the one thing that has not arrived. Wake up my heart to the present, where you are fully alive and at work. Lord, give me patience that is rooted in perspective. Help me remember how you have shown up before. Remind me of the times you answered prayers in ways far better than I had planned. Let those memories fuel my trust. Let them silence my fears. I do not have to have it all figured out. I just have to stay close to you. And that is enough. Your presence is my promise. Your nearness is my security. Your timing is wrapped in love, not delay. Let today be lived with open hands. Let my plans be written in pencil, and your will be the ink that does not fade. Let me approach every hour not as something to conquer, but as something to cherish. You are in every minute. You are in every pause. You are in the detours, the delays, the divine interruptions. Let me stop resenting time and start revering it. For every moment holds the potential of encounter when I stay attentive to your presence. Give me grace to move slowly when you say wait, and courage to move quickly when you say go. Keep me from dragging my feet out of fear or running ahead out of impatience. I want to walk with you, not just for you. I want my rhythm to be tuned to yours. Let trust become my pace. Let peace become my pulse. Let faith become my frame. In every delay, let hope rise, not fade. In every pause, let gratitude grow, not grumbling. Let me speak words today that align with trust, not complaint. Let my thoughts not spiral into worry, but spiral into worship. And if the only thing I receive today is the assurance that you are with me, then let that be more than enough. Because if I have you, I have everything. So often I focus on what I am waiting for, but maybe the most important thing is who I am becoming in the wait. Make me patient, not passive. Make me trusting, not anxious. Make me content, not complacent. And above all, make me more like you. Let the slow work of your Spirit not be hindered by my desire for speed. Let your timing do its holy work in me. God, remind me that even Jesus waited. He waited in the womb, in the carpenter's shop, in the wilderness, and in the garden. Waiting is not a sign of weakness, but of wisdom. And if your son waited with purpose, then I can too. Let me lean into that divine patience, knowing that waiting is never in vain when it is done in your presence. It becomes a sacred space of preparation, a holy invitation to deeper faith. So here I am, walking at your pace, listening for your whispers, trusting in your sequence. I will not run ahead. I will not lag behind. I will stay beside you, one step at a time, through this day. Whether it brings clarity or more questions, answers or more silence, I know you are present in every second. And that is more than enough to quiet my soul and steady my heart. God, now that my heart has begun to embrace the joy that flows even through uncertainty, I find myself drawn to something deeper still, the courage to let go. There is a quiet kind of strength you are teaching me, not one that comes from grasping tighter, but from releasing with trust. You are showing me that true strength is not found in controlling the outcome, but in surrendering to the one who already holds the outcome. And so, in this moment, I offer you every part of me that is still holding on too tightly. Father, I confess that surrender does not come naturally. My instinct is to plan, to fix, to arrange every detail until I feel safe. But you call me into a different kind of safety, not one secured by my own hands, but one rooted in resting in yours. You are not asking me to stop caring. You are asking me to stop carrying what was never mine to bear alone. You are asking me to open my clenched fists and lay down every weight at your feet. And I want to trust you enough to do exactly that. There is freedom in surrender, even when everything in me resists it. I have believed for too long that surrender is weakness, that letting go means losing. But now I am beginning to see the truth. Surrender is where your strength begins. It is where peace flows in. It is where my striving ends and your spirit begins to breathe new life into my soul. It is not defeat. It is a doorway. And this morning, I want to walk through it with courage. Lord, help me surrender my fear of the unknown. I do not need to see the whole path. I only need to take the next faithful step. Help me to let go of the belief that I must have all the answers. You never ask me to know everything. You only ask me to trust the one who does. I release the burden of needing to predict the future, overthinking every possible outcome. Today, I choose to live in this moment, present and yielded, aware that your grace meets me here, not in some imagined future. Help me surrender my timelines, God. You know how often I measure progress by what I think should happen and when, but your timing is not mine, and your ways are higher. I lay down my urgency and my impatience. I let go of the pressure to force things to happen before their time. Instead, I choose to believe that you are never late and never rushed. What you have planned for me will not pass me by. What is meant for me will not be lost in the waiting. I choose to rest in your perfect pace. God, I surrender the need to be strong on my own. There are days when I feel like I must carry everyone and everything. Days when I try to be the answer, the anchor, the provider, the protector. But only you are strong enough to hold it all. Teach me to lay it down, Teach me that it is not my job to fix every problem or heal every heart. Remind me that you are God and I am not. Let that reminder be a relief, not a rebuke. I was never meant to carry what only you can. Father, I surrender the image I try to protect, the version of myself I think others need me to be, the curated smile, the polished answers, the silent pressure to seem like I have it all together. But you do not bless the version of me I pretend to be. You bless the real me, the one who is wary, the one who is scared, the one who is unsure. You are not disappointed by my humanity. You meet me in it. So I take off the mask. I lay down the act. I breathe in grace and exhale honesty. That is where intimacy begins with you, with others, and even with myself. I surrender my expectations, Lord, the ones I have placed on you, the ones I have placed on myself, the ones I have placed on others. Expectations have a way of stealing peace. They whisper that nothing is enough. But when I release them, I make room for gratitude to grow. I make room to be surprised by your goodness. Let me find beauty not just in what I planned, but in what unfolds unexpectedly. Let me loosen my grip on how I think things should be, and instead hold open hands to receive what is. God, I surrender control. I surrender the illusion that I am in charge. I surrender my pride and my plans. I surrender my need to be right, to be understood, to be vindicated. I surrender the arguments I replay in my head, the words I wish I had said, the ways I wish things had gone. None of these things bring peace, but your presence does. So I choose presence over perfection. I choose peace over proving a point. I choose surrender over struggle. And when my heart resists this letting go, be gentle with me. You know the reasons behind my need to hold on. You know the wounds that taught me to cling, the fears that told me I must never lose control. But you are healing those places in me, little by little. And each time I choose to trust you more, something within me becomes freer, stronger, softer, more secure in the truth that I am already safe in your love. Let surrender become a rhythm in my life, not a one-time act, but a daily offering. Let it shape how I pray, how I walk, how I respond. Let it guide how I love others, not by trying to change them, but by releasing them into your care. Let me parent from a place of peace. Let me serve without resentment. Let me give without fear. Let me forgive without needing repayment. Let my life be an echo of the words, not my will, but yours be done. God, as I surrender, fill the emptied spaces with your spirit. Where worry once lived, plant peace. Where striving once burned, let rest arise. Where resentment once festered, sow grace. Let my heart become a garden where trust takes root and grows wild. Not the kind of trust that needs proof, but the kind that has learned to find you even in the dark. That kind of trust is the fruit of surrender, and that is what I long for. Today, let my surrender not be passive, but active. Let it move me forward, not make me retreat. Let it lead me into holy obedience, not complacency. Show me that surrender does not mean I do nothing. It means I do only what you call me to do, and I leave the rest in your hands. That is where my peace is found. That is where my strength is renewed. not in endless effort, but in faithful surrender. So here I am, God, releasing what was never mine to control, opening my hands, bowing my will, trusting that you are good, and that is enough. Whatever today holds, you are already in it. Whatever waits ahead, you go before me. Whatever I lay down, you will redeem. And whatever I let go of, you will hold with care. I surrender, not because I have to, but because I want to. Because in surrender, I find you waiting, arms open, whispering, I have got this, and that is all I need to know. Lord, now that my soul has tasted the stillness that comes from surrender, I feel you calling me gently into the next step, obedience. Not the obedience driven by fear or obligation, but the kind born out of love and trust. You are not a harsh taskmaster demanding perfection. You are a father who leads with grace, who invites me into partnership, who desires my willing heart more than flawless execution. So today, as I rise and prepare to meet the demands of life, I offer you not just my heart, but also my steps. God, help me walk in obedience, not because I seek approval, but because I trust that your way is better. You are not holding back joy from me. You are protecting me from paths that lead to harm. Every boundary you place is a shelter, not a prison. Every command is a doorway into deeper life. Your voice is not a burden, it is a lifeline. Let my ears be tuned to your whisper. Let my heart respond without delay, not because I must, but because I believe you see the whole picture, and I only see a piece. Father, obedience begins in the small things. In the quiet yes when no one is watching. In the gentle words spoken when I want to stay silent. In the act of kindness when I feel rushed. In the decision to forgive before resentment takes root. In the courage to say no to what is good in order to say yes to what is best. These are not grand gestures the world applauds, but you see them, you celebrate them. Because obedience to you is always about the heart. Help me not wait until I feel ready. If I wait for perfect conditions, I may never move. Obedience is rarely convenient. It is often uncomfortable. It stretches me beyond what I think I can do, but it is in that stretching that you meet me. It is in the discomfort that you mold me. You never promised that following you would be easy, but you promised you would walk with me every step of the way. So I do not need to fear the cost of obedience, because you are the reward. Lord, give me a heart that listens, the kind that pauses before rushing ahead, the kind that seeks your counsel before seeking the approval of others. I do not want to run on autopilot, relying on my own instincts. I want to be led by your Spirit. Let me recognize when you speak through conviction, through peace, through scripture, through circumstances. Let me be open to correction, knowing it is not condemnation but refinement. You discipline not to shame, but to shape. You prune not to harm, but to make room for fruit. Help me obey even when I do not understand. Especially then. There will be times when the step you ask me to take makes no logical sense, when the way forward feels unclear, when the risk feels greater than the reward. But that is where trust is tested and faith is forged. Let me remember that obedience is not about having all the answers. It is about saying yes in the dark, believing the light will follow. You are faithful to guide every obedient heart into a greater purpose than it could ever design alone. God, protect me from selective obedience, from the temptation to obey only when it aligns with my preferences, from the habit of choosing comfort over conviction, from the ease of delayed obedience that is really quiet disobedience. Teach me that partial obedience is not obedience at all. Let my response to you be immediate and full. Let my posture be one of eagerness, not hesitation. I want to live with a heart that says, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." Remind me that obedience is not just about doing it, it is about becoming. It is not a checklist, but a way of life. It is about aligning my soul with your will so that everything I do flows from who I am in you. As I obey, reshape me. Make me more patient, more humble, more bold in love, more anchored in truth, more dependent on grace. This journey is not about performance, it is about transformation, and obedience is the path that takes me there. Father, thank you for the gentle ways you nudge me forward, for the quiet promptings I often overlook, for the deep stirrings that remind me you are always calling me closer. Obedience is not about perfection, but progression, not about leaps, but steps, sometimes trembling steps, sometimes reluctant ones. But you honor every move toward you, no matter how small. So let today be filled with those small, sacred steps that say, "I trust you, God." I also need the strength to obey when it costs me, when obedience leads to misunderstanding, when it requires sacrifice, when it means laying down something I love. Let me not equate loss with failure. Let me remember that anything I surrender in obedience is never truly lost. It becomes a seed planted in faith, one you water in secret, and one that will bear fruit in your perfect time. You are never outdone in generosity. What you ask me to lay down, you multiply in ways I could never imagine. Let obedience be my worship, not just the songs I sing, but the life I live. Let it be my love letter to you, my way of saying, "I believe you are who you say you are." Let every yes I whisper in faith resound in heaven. Let my obedience ripple beyond what I can see. Let it open doors for others. Let it break chains I never knew existed. Let it stir courage in those watching from afar. This is how you use ordinary lives to write extraordinary stories, through simple obedience. Lord, let obedience flow from a heart of joy, not duty, not guilt, not fear, but joy, because there is no greater joy than walking in step with you, than knowing I am in alignment with heaven, than sensing your delight in my surrender, than feeling your presence in every obedient step. Let joy be the fuel that carries me forward. Let joy sustain me when the road is long. Let joy remind me that obedience is not the end, is the beginning of something beautiful. And when I fall short, which I will, let me run back to you, not hide from you. Let me repent quickly, receive grace fully, begin again boldly. You do not shame those who stumble. You steady them. You restore. You redeem. My failure is not the end of the story. It is a comma, not a period. And every time I return to you, you write a new line of mercy, a new chapter of purpose. That is who you are, a God of second chances and unrelenting love. So today, I choose to obey not because I have to, but because I want to, because I have seen enough of your faithfulness to know that you are worth following, because I have tasted the peace that comes from walking in step with you, because I trust that obedience will take me where comfort never could. I may not know what lies ahead, but I know who goes before me, and that is all I need. Lord, my life is not mine to direct. It is yours to guide. So take my hand again today. Lead me with clarity. Speak to me with tenderness. Strengthen me with courage. And as I go, let obedience not just mark my actions, but shape my soul, one step at a time. With a willing heart and eyes fixed on you, that is how I want to walk. That is how I want to live. Lord, as I continue this walk with you, I sense you drawing my heart towards something deeper, still not just the step of obedience, but the quiet surrender to the process of growth. There is a rhythm you have ordained, a slow unfolding that rarely aligns with my need for immediacy. And yet, even in the waiting, even in the moments when I do not see results, you are working. You are growing things beneath the surface that I cannot yet perceive, shaping me for purposes not yet revealed. So I come before you this morning, not demanding progress on my timeline, but offering myself to be molded according to yours. Father, help me to trust the process, to understand that transformation often comes not in bursts of brilliance, but in long seasons of quiet faithfulness. The roots go deep before the fruit is seen. The soil must be tilled before the seed can thrive. And just as a tree does not strain to grow, but simply leans into light, I too must lean into you, allowing your grace to do what my effort cannot. You are the gardener of my soul, and you know exactly when to prune, when to water, and when to wait. God, I confess there are times when I grow weary in the becoming, when I look at where I am and feel the ache of how far I still have to go, when I measure myself against others or against the expectations I have placed on my own shoulders. In those moments, remind me that you are not rushing me to some imaginary finish line. You are walking with me at a pace that forms endurance, not exhaustion. You do not despise the days of small beginnings. You celebrate each moment I lean toward your light, no matter how slight the motion may feel. Help me to embrace the mystery of growth, that it often feels like stillness, that it can come through both the sunshine and the storm. I do not always understand the seasons you allow, but I believe you waste nothing, even the detours, even the setbacks, even the unanswered questions. You are not finished with me, and every moment, even the ones I would not choose, is being woven into the masterpiece you envision. You see what I cannot see, and so I choose to rest in your perspective more than my perception. Lord, give me patience with myself, with the pace of healing, with the unlearning of habits that took years to form, with the daily, deliberate decisions that may not yield immediate fruit, but are no less sacred. Let me not despise the repetitive, the ordinary, the slow. These are the places where character is carved and faith becomes real. These are the places where you meet me most intimately, not in applause, but in the quiet yes, in the unseen surrender, in the slow burn of transformation that lasts. Teach me not to rush past the tension between where I am and where I long to be. Let me sit with it. Let it soften me, not harden me. Let it refine my expectations and expand my capacity to hope without demand, because hope that is rooted in you is never empty. You are faithful to complete what you begin, and your timing is always redemptive, always wise, always anchored in love. Let me cling to that truth when nothing else makes sense. Father, protect me from the lie that growth must look dramatic to be real. Sometimes the most powerful change is invisible, happening in the chambers of the heart, in the rewiring of the mind, in the stretching of my will to choose you again and again. Let me not discount the progress that does not come with a finish line or a milestone. Let me celebrate the courage to keep going, the decision to rise after falling, the humility to begin again. These are victories, and they matter deeply to you. God, let growth be marked not by perfection, but by perseverance. Not by how many steps I take forward, but by my refusal to stay down when I fall. Let my growth be rooted in grace, not pressure. Let it be fueled by love, not shame. Let it be evidence of your Spirit's gentle work in me, drawing me out of old ways and into the fullness of who you created me to be. I am not who I was, and I am not yet who I will become, but I am in process, and you are present in every step of it. Help me, Lord, to stop fixating on outcomes and start embracing presence, to release the urge to measure my life by achievements, and instead treasure the nearness of your voice. You do not call me to perform. You call me to abide, and in that abiding, you grow in me what no striving ever could. You birth peace in chaos, joy in waiting, strength in surrender. This is the miracle of walking with you, not that I become more impressive, but that I become more like you. Let me be teachable today, soft in spirit, open in heart, willing to listen and quick to adjust. Let pride not harden the soil of my heart. Let offense not choke out your truth. Let fear not stunt my growth. Instead, let your word water my soul like a gentle rain. Let your correction come as a balm, not a blow. Let me love your guidance even when it challenges me, because I trust that you correct not to wound, but to awaken something greater in me. And Lord, in the midst of my growth, help me to encourage others in theirs. Let me not project my expectations onto their journey. Let me not judge their process by my own timeline. Help me see them through your eyes with compassion, with hope, with the confidence that you are working in them too. Let me be a voice of grace, not pressure. Let my life testify that growth is possible for all who trust in you. Let me water what you have planted in others with kindness, not criticism. Father, I also ask that you protect my joy during the growing seasons, the joy that comes not from arrival, but from knowing I am moving in the right direction. The joy that dances in the tension, that smiles in the midst of process, that trusts even when the path is uneven. This joy is not based on ease, but on endurance. Not on certainty, but on confidence in you. Let me guard that joy fiercely, because it is the strength I need to keep going. Today, I will not curse the slow. I will not shame the process. I will not measure my worth by how quickly I change or how visibly I bloom. Instead, I will trust the gardener. I will rest in your timing. I will believe that deep roots take time, and that hidden growth is still growth. I will celebrate the beauty of becoming, and knowing that you are not in a hurry with my soul. You are building something eternal, and that kind of work cannot be rushed. Lord, thank you for never growing weary of walking with me, for seeing the finished work even when all I see is the mess, for calling me forward with patience and celebrating even the smallest steps. Let be enough for me today to know that you are not disappointed with where I am, but delighted that I continue to come. That is the soil where true growth takes root, in the presence of a God who is never disappointed by progress that feels slow. So I rise today, not with pressure, but with peace, not with a checklist, but with surrender, not with striving, but with stillness. And in that stillness, I lean into you, into the hands that formed me, into the love that never gives up on me, into the promise that what you begin, you will complete. Let that be the foundation I stand on today. Let that truth anchor me through every season of becoming. Father, as the morning stretches before me and the sky slowly unfolds its soft hues, I bring to you this unspoken need for steadiness, the kind that does not always roar like confidence, but hums like a quiet, knowing that even if I do not have all the answers, I am still held. Even if I do not know where the road leads, you are already there. The kind of steadiness that does not remove uncertainty, but walks hand in hand with it. Steady not because I am sure, but because you are unchanging. And as I linger in the echo of the truth that you are never in a hurry with my soul, I find myself needing to carry that same calmness into the areas where anxiety still stirs, into the moments where outcomes seem fragile, into the conversations where I fear misunderstanding, into the quiet battles in my mind where old fears try to rise again. Let your steadiness be my portion this day, Lord. Let it calm my frantic thoughts and slow my racing heart. I do not need to control what lies ahead. I need only to stay close to the one who does. God, you know how easily I drift toward worry, how my heart sometimes holds its breath when the future feels unclear, yet you continue to invite me to breathe, to trust, to rest, not because the path is clear, but because you are near. You have not asked me to figure everything out today. You have simply asked me to walk with you. So help me take the next faithful step, not needing to see the full picture, but choosing to believe that you are painting something beautiful. Even when it looks like a blur from where I stand, help me to anchor myself not in circumstances, but in your character. When the world spins fast and news brings more questions than peace, let me remain grounded in the truth that you have not changed. Your love is not swayed by world events. Your promises are not diluted by headlines. You remain steady when everything else shifts. Let my faith find footing there, in the bedrock of who you are. a rock that does not crack beneath the weight of change. Lord, I want to be steady like a tree planted beside living water, not easily shaken by winds of opinion or waves of emotion, not tossed around by the fear of the unknown or the pressure to perform, but rooted in you, drawing nourishment from your word, from your presence, from the daily grace that meets me with each sunrise. Let the fruit of that rootedness be visible not in big declarations, but in the quiet way I keep choosing peace over panic, faith over fear, love over anxiety. Remind me that steadiness is not the absence of emotion, but the presence of trust. It does not mean I feel the tremors of life, unpredictability, but that I choose not to live in reaction to them. It means I let the waves crash without letting them define me. It means I pause before I respond, listen before I speak, pray before I assume. It means I seek your voice above the noise, your truth above the tension, your whisper above the whirlwind. Lord, in the areas where I am still learning how to stand firm, be my strength. Where I feel stretched thin, be my fullness. Where I am tired of trying to hold it all together, hold me instead. I do not want to pretend I am okay when I am unraveling inside. You are not honored by my performance. You are glorified by my honesty. So I bring my shakiness to you and ask that you trade it for the steadiness of your spirit, a peace that surpasses all understanding, a stillness that comes not from having the answers, but from trusting the one who does. Help me to slow down, God, to recognize that business is not the same as fruitfulness, that rushing does not guarantee results, that sometimes the most productive thing I can do is be still before you, to listen instead of always speaking, to rest instead of constantly running. Let this day be marked not by how much I accomplish, but by how deeply I trust. Let it be a testimony not to my strength, but to your faithfulness at work in my weakness. Teach me to walk with steady feet even when the ground beneath me feels unfamiliar. Let my steps be guided not by pressure but by purpose. Let me be present where I am instead of racing toward where I think I should be. And when I do not know what to do, let me choose to remain in you, anchored in your presence, listening for your nudges, open to your interruptions. For sometimes the greatest breakthroughs come not through my plans, but through the still, small moments you orchestrate in my pause. Father, I ask for discernment in the midst of this day's demands. Show me what is truly mine to carry, and what I need to lay down. Sometimes I pick up burdens that were never meant for my hands, thinking it is faithfulness when it is really fear. Teach me that obedience is not always about doing more, but about doing what you have actually asked of me. Let me be faithful with what you have entrusted, and free from the weight of what you have not. Let my steadiness today become a safe place for others. Let my presence speak peace without needing many words. Let my actions reflect quiet confidence that can only come from you. And in my stillness, may others see the strength of the one who holds me. May my calm become contagious. May my groundedness remind others that there is a God who offers anchoring when everything else is drifting. God, when I am tempted to react in frustration, remind me of the power of gentleness. When I am pulled toward fear, point me to your truth. When I feel overlooked or misunderstood, remind me that you see me clearly. when I question whether I am making progress, let me remember that every small decision to stay close to you is growth. That faith is not always loud, but it is always enough when it is fixed on you. Let this day not be driven by proving anything, but by abiding in you. Let every breath, every choice, every word I speak be aligned with the steadiness that comes from knowing I belong to you. Let my identity not be wrapped in what I do, but in who I am in you, beloved, held, chosen, never abandoned. When the world tries to shake that foundation, let your truth rise louder in my heart than any lie. So I step into this day with steady hands and a surrendered spirit. Not because I have figured everything out, because I trust the one who goes before me. You are the God who walks on the waves and still reaches for my hand. You are the one who never panics, who never forgets, who never falters. And if you are unshaken, then I do not need to be shaken either. I choose to rest in that today. I choose to move forward in that peace. Let the way I carry myself today reflect the reality of your presence. Let it show in the way I listen, the way I pause, the way I respond, the way I love. Not rushed, not flustered, not reactive, but steady, gentle, grounded, because you are here and because you are enough, Lord. As I rise today and continue to walk in the steadiness you have begun forming in me, I come with open hands again. There is peace in knowing you hold everything together. But still, a part of me wrestles with the things I cannot fix, cannot change, cannot force to align with my desire. I bring to you now the weight of all that is beyond my reach, not to make sense of it, not to manipulate it, but to release it, to truly let it go and trust that you are not only aware, but actively present in the places I cannot be. Father, help me loosen my grip on outcomes that do not belong to me. I have tried so hard to shape situations with my own strength, to carry burdens too heavy for one soul. I have replayed conversations, rehearsed fears, tried to rewrite the future in my mind, thinking somehow I could prevent pain or guarantee peace. But you never asked me to be the author. You called me to be the surrendered page. So here I am again, willing to place what I cannot control into the hands that never lose their grip. God, in the quiet corners of my heart, where anxiety gathers like morning fog, speak clarity. Let your light break through the haze of worry and show me the difference between what is mine to hold and what is yours to carry. I do not want to confuse responsibility with control. I do not want to waste today trying to manage what belongs to tomorrow. Remind me that faith is not passive, it is the active choice to release. To say, I trust you, and mean it even when I do not see resolution. Lord, I surrender the relationships where I have tried to be the fixer, the situations where I have tried to control outcomes, the problems that replay over and over in my mind with no clear answer. I surrender the timeline I thought I needed, the expectations I silently placed on people and circumstances. I surrender the belief that I have to figure everything out to be safe. I am safe because you are here. You are sovereign, and I am not. And that is not a threat, it is a relief. Father, thank you for reminding me that releasing control is not giving up. It is choosing freedom. It is stepping out from under the crushing pressure to make everything perfect. It is breathing again after holding it in too long. It is trusting that you are still good even when life does not unfold the way I imagined. So instead of gripping tighter, I let go, not in despair, but in devotion, not in fear, but in faith. Let me walk through this day with peace that does not depend on resolution. Let me speak words that are not reactive, but reflective of trust. Let me approach uncertainty not with clenched fists, but with a quiet confidence that you are working even when I do not understand. I do not have to know the end to rest in the middle. I do not have to feel in control to know you are. Your ways are not mine, but they are always good, God. In the moments when I am tempted to take back what I just laid down, give me the courage to trust you again. When waiting feels like weakness, remind me that strength is found in stillness. When others expect answers I do not have, let me be okay with saying, I am not sure, but I trust. Let me not rush to fill the silence with noise or force clarity where you are writing mystery. Some of the greatest miracles begin in surrender, not in striving. Help me to embrace the grace of this day without trying to bend it to my will. Let me not chase what is out of reach, but cherish what is already here. You are in the now, not just the not yet. You are in the gentle breeze, the steady breath, the quiet knowing that I am not alone. Let that be enough. Let that be my anchor when the waves rise, my song when the answers delay. Father, I place before you the names on my heart, the people I cannot fix, the stories I cannot write, the hearts I long to see healed. I release the outcomes I have held on to like lifelines. I choose today not to manipulate or convince or carry what is not mine. You love them more than I ever could. You see what I cannot. You are already moving in ways I may never see. And so I trust you with what I love. God, teach me to release the internal narrative that says I am only valuable when I am in control. Help me believe that my worth is not attached to solving problems, to being needed, or to having it all together. My worth is settled, sealed in your love. I am not failing just because I can fix everything. I am not weak because I need help. I am human, and you delight in drawing near to the humble and weary. Let the rhythm of this day be marked by grace, not grasping. Let me lean into divine dependence, not self-reliance. Let me breathe deeply knowing that you are not asking for perfection, only presence. Let me find joy not in checking every box, but in being with you in each moment. That is the real peace I long for, not control, but communion. When my mind spins with what-ifs, bring me back to what is. When fear floods my thoughts, remind me of what is true. That you are here, that you are kind, that you are capable of handling what overwhelms me, and that nothing is ever out of control when it is in your hands. Lord, I do not want to waste today trying to hold things together out of fear. I want to live open, to love freely, to move gently, to listen without judgment, to let go without regret. Let me be light because I am not carrying more than I am meant to. Let me be love because I am not busy protecting my own outcomes. Let me be peace, because I have released my need to control. Father, even as I pray these words, I know I will be tempted again to grasp for control, to replay conversations, to plan every detail, to hold too tightly to what feels uncertain. But when I feel that pull, remind me to come back here, to this moment, to this release, to this posture of trust, because it is here, in this surrender, that I find freedom, and it is here that I remember you are God, and I am not. And that is the most comforting truth of all. So as I move forward today, let my heart be lighter, not because everything is resolved, but because everything is released. Let the letting go continue throughout the day in my choices, in my silence, in my laughter, in my tears. Let me live free from the illusion that I must control in order to be okay. You are the one who holds all things, and that includes me. Let that truth be the melody beneath every moment, the grounding beneath every breath, the quiet confidence I carry into the uncertainty of this day. I do not have to fix it all. I do not have to carry it all. I only have to stay near you, and that I can do. Father, as I continue in this quiet flow of surrender, letting go of the things I cannot control, my heart opens wide to the sacred simplicity of what still remains. There is something deeply beautiful in noticing again what I often overlook. And so today, I come to you not with urgent requests or anxious questions, but simply with thanks for what is here, for what is enough, for what breathes softly beside me without making noise. Lord, you are in the hush between tasks, in the pause between heartbeats, in the ordinary details that quietly carry me through the day. Help me not to rush past the small things, assuming they are too insignificant to matter. Because in your presence, nothing is wasted. A warm cup in my hands, the hum of morning light through the window, the sound of a bird returning to its branch, each one whispers of your nearness. And I want to be awake to it all. God, give me eyes to see the sacred woven through my morning rituals. Not everything has to be profound to be holy. The way my feet touch the floor when I rise, the feel of water on my skin as I wash away the night, the rhythm of breath as I return to center. These are not meaningless motions. They are moments filled with quiet grace, with a gentle invitation to remember life itself is a gift I did not earn, but was lovingly given. Let me not overlook the miracle of simplicity, a heartbeat that has not missed a beat, a body that, though imperfect, carries me through the day, a mind that can still wonder, imagine, and hope. These are treasures I carry not in my hands, but within me. Let me treat them with tenderness, not take them for granted, not rush past them while chasing something shinier. Father, remind me that joy is not found in accumulation, but in appreciation. That peace is not birthed in perfection, but in presence. That contentment does not wait for circumstances to change, but grows quietly when I pause to say thank you for what is already mine. I do not need more to be grateful. I need to see more clearly the grace already surrounding me. Today, let me delight in the unnoticed, in the feel of clean sheets, in the scent of fresh air, in the laughter that rises unexpectedly from a memory, in the way silence settles into a room and brings peace. Let these moments be enough. Let them nourish me. Let them teach me that I am already held, already loved, already blessed far beyond what I know. God, help me not to despise the slow days, the ones that seem uneventful, ordinary, quiet, because often those are the days you speak the loudest, not in thunder, but in stillness, not in miracles, but in mercy, not in breakthroughs, but in breath. Let me sit in the slowness without trying to escape it. Let me meet you there, knowing that your pace is never rushed, and your love is never hurried. Lord, keep me from the illusion that gratitude is only reserved for mountaintops. Teach me to give thanks in the valleys, in the flatlands, in the in-between. Let my praise not be contingent on answered prayers or perfect outcomes, but on the unwavering truth that you are good and that goodness is always present, even in hidden places. Let me not wait for someday to feel full. Let today be the day I notice the gifts hidden in plain sight. Let my smile come more easily, not because everything is going right, but because I am finally choosing to see rightly. Let my words be softer, my tone gentler, because I am no longer speaking from scarcity, but from gratitude. Let my steps be slower, not out of weariness, but because I am learning to savor rather than survive. Father, thank you for what I cannot measure, for kindnesses that go unnoticed, for mercies I never asked for but still receive, for beauty that asks for nothing in return, for the way you color the sky differently every day and never once demand applause. That is the kind of love I want to reflect, not loud, not flashy, but steady and present and real. And when the pressures of the day begin to build, when I am pulled toward comparison or hurry or resentment, remind me again of the joy in the small. Let me not trade wonder for worry. Let me not lose sight of the holy hiding in plain view. A moment of connection, a breath of fresh air, a word of kindness, a smile exchanged. These are enough. They are more than enough. They are sacred. God, make me rich in gratitude today, not because of what I achieve, but because of what I receive, not because I have everything I want, but because I recognize the deep beauty in what I already hold. Let me return thanks not once, but all throughout the day, not as a ritual, but as a rhythm. Let thankfulness become the pulse of my spirit, beating steady beneath everything else. Teach me to thank you not just for the gifts, but for the giver, not just for the blessings, but for the presence behind them. You are the reason any of this means anything. Without you, even abundance feels empty, but with you, even a simple sunrise becomes a cathedral of praise. Lord, let gratitude be my grounding when I am tempted to reach too far ahead. Let me return to what is right here. When disappointment knocks at the door, let gratitude open it first. When fear whispers lies, let truth answer with thanksgiving. Gratitude is not passive, it is powerful. It reframes. It renews. It recenters. It reminds me that no matter what I face today, I am not facing it alone. And when I lay down tonight, let my last thoughts be filled not with regrets or what-ifs, but with a quiet awe that I got to live this day, that I got to feel and breathe and love and be loved, that I got to witness the tiny miracles unfolding right under my nose. Let that be enough. So now, as I prepare to step into the rest of this morning, may every movement carry this gratitude with it. Into the way I pour my coffee, into the way I greet a stranger, into the way I answer messages, or walk outside, or sit in stillness. Let me find you again and again in the ordinary. Let me be moved not by what is spectacular, but by what is sincere. Father, I do not want to miss today looking for something better. I want to meet you here, in this exact moment, in this exact breath, and say thank you not just with my lips, but with my life. Lord, as I come quietly into this final stretch of our morning journey, I pause to feel the weight of this moment, not heavy with burden, but full of reverence. Each word, whispered since the first light stirred, has carried me closer to your heart. And in this final chapter, I do not seek to conclude, but to continue in another form. Another step, another breath of trust. The journey of prayer is not something we finish, something we return to over and over, because your presence is always open, always near, always waiting in stillness and in motion alike. Father, thank you for staying with me through the rise of each new day, through every chapter that unfolded like sunlight stretching across the sky. You have taught me that the sacred is not something reserved for holy places, but woven into the smallest details of an ordinary morning. And now, with this final offering of words, I let my soul settle in your peace and reflect on the tender wisdom that has come like quiet rain to thirsty ground. You have taught me to bring you my fears without shame, my hopes without condition, and my doubts without fear of rejection. You have reminded me that healing is not always loud, that transformation sometimes takes the form of a softened heart, a more patient tone, or the ability to be kind even when things are not kind to me. These are the subtle signs of your grace, gentle and unnoticed by many, yet deeply felt by those who have walked closely with you. Lord, you never rushed me, even when I stumbled through my words or felt too wary to speak. You sat with me in silence, held me when I could not hold myself, and gave me courage to show up even when I did not feel ready. That is the kind of love that transforms from within, not through force but through faithfulness. And today, as I exhale all that remains in my soul, I see that this love has left its mark in quiet ways, softening my edges, opening my eyes, deepening my trust. God, help me carry this tenderness with me into the rest of the day. Let it change how I listen, how I respond, how I hold space for others. Let it influence the decisions I make when no one is watching. Let it shape the way I see the people I pass by, each of them carrying their own untold stories, their own silent prayers. Let me be more gentle in a world that so often forgets how much kindness matters. You have reminded me that devotion is not in the volume of my voice, but in the consistency of my return to you. That prayer is not always a plea, but sometimes a posture, a heart turned upward, a spirit willing to stay open, even in uncertainty. Thank you for receiving not just my strong declarations, but also my quiet confessions and unfinished thoughts. You never ask for perfection, only honesty. And in that honesty, I have discovered a freedom I did not know I needed. Father, I realize now that the most powerful prayers are not always the ones that change circumstances, but the ones that change how I see. And I see differently now. I see how light falls even on difficult days. See how peace can rise even in the middle of noise. I see how joy can visit even in brokenness. How hope keeps breathing even when everything else feels still. This is what it means to live awake to your presence. So as I prepare to move forward, I do so not as someone who has reached the end, but as someone who has remembered how to begin again. Every morning is a beginning. Every breath is an invitation. Every moment is a doorway to deeper awareness of you. And I want to step through those doorways with humility, with gratitude, with a willingness to trust even when I do not understand. Lord, let this time I have spent in communion with you remain like oil in my lamp, quietly burning, quietly lighting the path ahead. Let it not stay in the sacred space of this morning alone, but follow me into the hours that unfold into my conversations, my thoughts, my choices. Let it soften the way I approach the demands of the day. Let it hold me steady when I am tempted to rush or react. Let it call me back to center when I feel scattered or small. There is so much I do not know, so many unknowns waiting outside these walls of morning stillness. But what I do know is this: you go with me. You go before me. You walk beside me. And you are already waiting in every moment I have yet to live. That truth is more than enough for me to take the next step. No matter how uncertain the path may appear, I will not pretend to have it all figured out. But I do not need to. I just need to stay connected to you. To breathe when it is hard. To notice when it is beautiful. To stay soft in a world that grows hard. To forgive when it hurts. To hope when it is easier to shut down. These are the quiet choices that shape a life rooted in you. And I want to live that way, not just today, but again tomorrow, and the day after that. Father, thank you for this sacred space we have shared these words. This silence, this stretch of time set apart to be with you. Thank you for the one listening alongside me, the one who carried their heart into this prayer and let it open. Thank you for their courage, their hunger, their longing. Bless them. Hold them. Lead them in ways only you can. May they know they are never alone, not even for a breath. To every heart that stayed to the end of this prayer, I speak gratitude over you. You made space for stillness in a noisy world. You chose intimacy over distraction. You gave your soul the gift of sacred rhythm. Thank you for being part of this journey. Your presence has made it deeper, fuller, more alive. Your faith, even in its quietest form, is powerful beyond measure. If this prayer has found a home in your heart, I invite you to share what moved you most. Leave your reflections, your own prayers, your words of encouragement below. Let this not be the end, but the beginning of a conversation between us, between you and God, between soul and soul. And if this journey has blessed you, I ask you to share this with someone who may need it too. There are hearts waiting for words that heal, and your act of sharing might be the bridge they have been praying for. Subscribe to this channel if you have not yet. Let us keep growing in faith together, rising each morning with renewed purpose, with deeper peace, with unwavering trust. Let this space continue to be a well where weary hearts come to drink, a quiet stream for the soul, a light at the edge of dawn. And now, as we part in silence, imagine the hush of morning settling over a field just kissed by light. Feel the breeze brushing gently across your skin, lifting the weight of the day before it begins. Hear the distant sound of water flowing, steady and sure, like a promise that never breaks. This is where we leave our words, not behind, but flowing forward into the living stream of grace that carries us always toward hope.